And we are finally live. WrestlePurists Podcast episode 125, hosted by myself, Ibu, and Rob. We have AO with a power outage, so he's definitely not here to start the pod. Maybe he will come through a bit later on. Will he show up? Who knows? But it's been a bit of a mad week in professional wrestling, I can't lie. Jacob Fatu made a huge statement debuting on Friday on SmackDown. The Wyatt Six did the same thing on Monday. Drew McIntyre finally got his hands on CM Punk after Clash at the Castle, and it wasn't good for old Phil. So there's a lot to talk about. AEW drew an all-time low number for AEW Dynamite. What happened there? There's some cool international shows. CMLL doing what they do in Arena Mexico. Mercedes Moné showing up and some other noteworthy things. Bloodsport in Japan. Whatever else you guys want us to talk about, we usually try to let you guys kind of dictate where we go on these Sunday shows. So first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats with any questions, any takes, any predictions, any topics, anything like that. All we'll get them read out as soon as we can. Turn on the post notifications. Hope everybody has had a good week. Starting with my fellow co-host, Rob, stepping in for AO. Much appreciated. As good as a substitute as you can get. What is going on? You muted.
Hello? Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Sorry, I was muted. I had my shit turned down. Sorry. But yeah, I was very, very excited to watch the show, listen to the show, but to actually get to talk about everything, because this week was a crazy week for pro wrestling, at least. Like with the Jacob Fatu's debut, the Wyatt Six on Monday, and then the stuff we've seen on Dynamite. So it was very, very interesting what took place last week, and I'm very, very excited to talk about it.
Yeah, man. Ibu, back up Hangman. Eventful week. Friday was more personal highlight, but there's been a lot going on, hasn't there?
Yeah, there is. Friday, it's one of those things where something like for me, right? The key is always like, when you're recapping a wrestling week to somebody that hadn't really watched the shows, and you just say it by bullet point, like what happened. Like it felt like on Friday when I was finishing up my work shift, it felt like I saw like 90 bullet points from different places all over the world. And I open my phone and I see Jacob Fatu, like I see Mercedes and CMLL, I see Danielson staring face to face with Shingo Takagi on Rampage, and I'm like, man, holy shit, this is one of those banner days in the industry. It was a fun week in wrestling, really eventful, and you love to see it. You know, I'm weird in that sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not that, you know, jazzed up by the stuff going on lately. But then there's weeks like this where it's like, holy fuck, this is really fun.
Yeah,
I think both companies are actually in a pretty good place right now creatively. I thought Dynamite, even though the number fucking bombed, I thought the show was awesome. And in general, I actually I've enjoyed this Forbidden Door TV cycle more than the TV cycle for coming out of Sting's retirement was at Revolution. So the build of Dynasty, like I wasn't crazy about those TVs, and I wasn't crazy about the TVs leading to Double or Nothing. But I think the TV lately has been fun, at least on the main show on Dynamite. Yeah, I'm having a good time with that. I thought SmackDown was terrific, and I guess we'll do the formal review tomorrow with Joe Holbert. But I thought that show was killer. So I mean, you've been all up on it, Monty, on the on the WrestlePurists account. Jacob Fatu is different, bro. And these people think they're ready, but they don't. I don't think they realize like just how special this guy is. I watched the Jacob promo this morning, and I was just like, oh man, it's just the way he talks, you know. I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready. This guy's a monster, and so I'm happy to talk about all the latest happenings in pro wrestling. And I thank everybody for joining us. It's your show today, guys. You know, this is an audience driven show. This is an interactive episode of the podcast. You guys drive the conversation. Our bullet points are just here to give us guidelines. But really, honestly, we're here to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, look, we got the big things of the week, which obviously you guys already know where we're going to go with that. But you know, we got time, man. It's a Sunday evening. You know, we might even have a few more people come through and just kind of hang out. That's what this is, you know, WrestlePurists Podcast. What we do. But I gotta start with Jacob Fatu, man. I can't escape this anymore. You know, as Ibu already said, SmackDown on Friday was electric. You know, by the end of it, I was sending Ibu incoherent DMs. You know,
yeah, he was.
The first DM was I think it was after the CM Punk Paul Heyman like segment, you know, and it was just like CM Punk has done it again, you know. And then when Drew McIntyre showed up with him,
oh my god,
as a corpse, basically, at the end of the game, like CM Punk has done it again in all caps. And by the time Jacob Fatu came out, bro, I think it was just like words, letters scrambled together. It's just...
You know what? Even before we get into that, and again, formal review tomorrow, but Rob, Monty, I know the highlights of the show that everyone talks about are the Punk angles and Jacob, and those things are great, right? But I also felt whole again inside because someone else finally arrived, you know. Because Friday, Andrade finally showed up to WWE. He finally showed up. He woke up. He put his boots on. And how about Andrade on SmackDown? That three-way. This dude was fucking awesome in that match.
Yeah,
like this dude, Chicago is the right crowd. They were into him. They're giving him the right reaction he needed. He's in there going in. At some point, Waller's out the ring, and for like 40 seconds, Steen is like, "Man, let's do this." And they go toe to toe and do like some like fighting spirit, like chop elbow exchanges. And you see Andrade come alive. And I'm like, oh shit, is this Collision? This is Collision right now.
Awaken his spirit.
He awakens his spirit, man. Listen, Andrade is a big match, big stage player. You know, you give him speed and bullshit like that. You know,
speed and rampage.
What the fuck is he supposed to do with speed? You know? But
bro, it's like you could tell he's so unmotivated when he works that shit too.
Because it's speed. But when you make him feel like the star he is and you treat him like such, look what happens. In NXT, nobody remembers this, Rob and Monty, but he actually was very displeased with his NXT run before he linked up with Zelina Vega. He was not happy with remember the fucking those what are those things called? Those straps that he would wear, that stupid outfit with the hat. Like he wasn't into that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that shit sucked. And then Hunter basically started booking him like a main event wrestler. And what happened? He started producing like a main event wrestler. See, the thing about Andrade is he's never happy and he complains a lot, right? But at least he complains a lot. But
he's gonna back it up, you know.
Yeah, he backs it up. He backs the shit. He bitches, and then you're like, all right, here you go. He rolled when Hunter or whoever Booker rolls the ball out, he fucking goes crazy. And on SmackDown, it was really nice to see him just kind of do his thing and win the match. You know, they're doing the C chants and shit, and he's losing his mind. I thought he looked great, and I'm glad he's in the Money in the Bank. But yeah, man, awesome show. Jacob Fatu, an absolute game changer. I kind of lost my mind yesterday, Monty, on Twitter. I was taking a lot of victory laps on people who were, you know, Bloodline Twitter adjacent or so on and so forth. Because I don't know how familiar you are with this, Monty, but dude, these people were all on me. They were all on me. We're 11 minutes into the pod. They were on my dick about fucking, no, man, he's going to be with the baby faces. He's going to be with Roman, bro. That's the story they're telling. That's not the story they were telling. If that's the story you think they were telling, then you're just not, you don't have reading comprehension. Because Paul Heyman, Monty, you know this for weeks. He's been like, Solo, I don't know. These people, you're not vetting these people that you're bringing into the bloodline. They're criminals. They've been arrested. You can't do this. He's been having these dark premonitions because clearly someone was coming in that is not to be trusted, is very dangerous, is very wild, is very uncontrollable.
Savages.
Obviously, the climax wasn't going to be Tonga Loa or Hikuleo. It was Jacob Fatu. So I had to take that victory lap because the bottom line is WWE doesn't have that many elite main event heels. It's Gunther and Drew. That's it.
Well, CM Punk will turn eventually as well.
Yeah, but right now, how many singles heels are elite? It's Gunther.
No, you're right. You're right.
So it's like, wow, a phenomenal wrestling talent who's only 32 years old. That blew my mind when I found that out. He falls into your lap as a company, and you're gonna burn him as a babyface when you have so many babyfaces. You're babyface territory. On SmackDown, you had not John Cena. You had CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, LA Knight. You're stacked on the good guy side. Give him some people to fight, and they did, thankfully.
Mm-hmm. And one of your pictures from Twitter as well is like eventually you want to get Andrade. He's definitely a big piece. You know, if they continue to showcase him as the wrestler that he is and what we know him to be, as you just mentioned. You know, I think your picture something like, you know, he lines up with the baby faces, then you just kind of slowly work towards him turning heel, and then you've got another like top heel who can definitely like carry the weight of being, you know, that well placed in WWE. Because, you know, we always sing Andrade's praises, even though he's a funny character, you know. But yeah, man, Jacob Fatu, that is definitely where we start. That's where we're remaining. So, my God. Savage has been unleashed on the masses. You know, he's been hid away from the masses for a long time. Too long. Way too long. You know, people who have been watching him since, you know, like, when did he come into MLW, bro? Like, I don't know.
2018.
I just remember, obviously, when MLW Fusion was, like, kind of hot. Like, it weren't, you know, it weren't drawing like a million viewers or anything, but it was kind of hot. You know, like, they had MJF and, like, they had like Tom Lawler when he was quite popular as well. Like he was the world champion for a long time.
Swerve was there.
Yeah, loads of
his debut,
MLW, man. But,
his debut was him splashing Tom Lawler like from the top of the cage.
Contra unit, you know.
Wait, no Diddy. Yeah, come
on, man. What you got going on?
You're a freak guy, you know that, Ibu.
What's going on?
You're a freak guy.
But that just goes to show you, like
this, you know.
This man said his debut was splashing Tom Lawler from the top. Yo,
you know what he meant.
Come on. I didn't realize I said from the top.
Rob, what's going on?
But that's a good. Before you continue, Monty, that just goes to show you how people saw something in him. He debuted jumping on the world champion from the top of a cage. So
he's bro.
Yeah, he's different, bro. Like, and he was very quick to realize even whether you first came across him on Friday night Literally, I think he's very much made a very big impression with WWE fans that have seen him for the first time, or whether you first seen him back in, when he was first coming through in MLW and kind of his role to the title in MLW. Then he had like one of the longest world title reigns, like in MLW. He's a very dominant champion, clear main player there. And then just all his stuff on the indies in recent years as he's gained more and more and more clout, and it all kind of, like I said, he's been hid from the masses for a long time for rumored many different reasons, many different reasons. He's lived a life,
Yes,
got some story. He's got some stories to tell, but
and 7 children to feed.
Amen.
7 babies.
Kids. I tell you, he lived a hell of a life, bro. Lived a hell of a life. But yeah, man, like I said, he's now been unleashed on the masses, and what an angle it was as well, bro. Like, this is how you make an impression if you're bringing in someone who you want to be perceived as a big player, bro. Like, this dude showed up, and Solo Sikoa, the cowering heel, he's been acting bad. He's been acting like he's the real tribal chief. But whenever it comes to crunch time, you know what I mean? Cody Rhodes basically beat him in like fucking 2 minutes. But then, the Tongans got involved, and then the babyfaces get involved. They got Solo Sikoa cowering in the corner, looking all scared and that. And then you just hear the crowd change. The crowd changes, and then Solo Sikoa starts to like get a little bit of a smirk, and you're like, oh no. Here he is. Here he is. And he shows up. Boom. Super kick to Randy Orton. Boom. Super kick to Cody Rhodes. Fucking Kevin Owens tries to nail him with a super kick. Eats it. Beats his chest. Boom. Lariat. And there, 3 men laid out. Kicks Kevin Owens out of the ring. Pops him up for a Samoan drop onto the steel steps. Then he kind of looks around. Just looks like an uncaged fucking animal. A damn savage. Picks up speed, sprints around the ring, and fucking spears Randy Orton.
It looked like Randy didn't even see it coming.
Yo, Randy did not know what to do with that. Like,
Randy did not see him running.
He was like, wait, hold on. He said, wait, we doing a barricade bump?
He smokes him, and the barricade don't like fully go through. It looks kind of painful. Randy's in agony on the floor. He's done. You get me? He goes, and Jacob Fatu is looking around, just looking menacing. Goes to go back in the ring. Cody Rhodes lands a few punches on him. The crowd gets really behind him. This is all feeling super, like just big time. But eventually, I think Jacob Fatu rolls out of the ring, and he kind of grabs his feet, pulls him out, hits a mad Uranagi on the apron, puts him on the table, and we get an insane spot where he hits this huge splash from the top to the outside on the announce table. Cody Rhodes is in pieces. He's just the fallen hero. Kids are crying. And yeah, Cody Rhodes has 2 broken ribs, according to himself at the house show yesterday. He's in a mess. Jacob Fatu has laid out the top 3 babyfaces on SmackDown as he was climbing to the top rope. Honestly, it's very rarely that I do this, probably if ever, but I thought Corey Graves did a really good job with putting the whole thing over. He lost his mind, like this damn savage that's been unleashed, etc. And as he's climbing to the top rope, he's like, Jacob Fatu's about to take out the world champion on his first night, and then he hits it, and he's like, oh my god! And it's just, it was chaos, Ibu. It was chaos. It was big. It was. We've been excited about Jacob Fatu waiting on it, but Jesus,
this is why
Jesus Christ.
This is why we were locked and loaded and excited. Like, this is why I knew it was going to be this awesome, and he's so good. He's like, in sports, they always talk about like those guys that are transformational to your franchise, and that they reverse the fortunes of your team. You add them, and you're a different team. Look at the Bloodline now. We were looking at this group like a bunch of Scooby-Doo fucking villains, like some fucking just bullshit Wish.com villains. Solo was looking ridiculous with the red suit and the black gloves, looking like he fucking belonged in an Austin Powers film and shit.
The slick back.
Yeah, just looking like a geek. But now you add Jacob Fatu, and I look at the team, and I'm like, this is a playoff team. Jacob Fatu is the star. These guys just fill in for him. That's what they needed. There was an empty seat there at the A chair, the top spot. It was just sick. Here's the thing about it, Monty, is the match. We knew the match was a 1-segment match, and so I knew something was going on. And Monty, do you remember your reaction? Because I did tell you. I told you midday. I said Jacob Fatu versus Cody is the main event of SmackDown. You were like, what?
He's Solo Sikoa.
What did I say?
You said Jacob Fatu.
That's be the SummerSlam main event. But no, I told you midday. Solo Sikoa versus Cody's closing SmackDown. And you were like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I told him, I was like, a big angle's closing SmackDown. And you were like, Jacob? Jacob. And I was like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I felt Jacob, but I didn't want to get my hopes up, because here's the thing, Monty. I could have said that, and then it would have been fucking Hikuleo. And think about that, Rob. Think about the course of history, Rob. If what closed SmackDown last night was the same angle, but it was Hikuleo.
Bro, that was my whole time watching Solo cower in the corner.
I'm like, oh
bro,
no,
please. I was like,
bro, dead ass. But think about it. All the fucking headlines about like Talatonga and the fucking trademarks and shit. It was like, man, like it's probably gonna be fucking Hikuleo. That stinks. And I was thinking about the 4-man unit of the God, Hikuleo, and Solo, and I'm like, that lineup stinks. And so I saw the rundown, Monty, and Cody and Solo is a 1-segment match, and I'm like, all right, something's gonna happen. This thing goes to a DQ with 8 minutes left on SmackDown. I'm like, all right.
I don't think it went 8 minutes, bro.
No, 8 minutes left on SmackDown.
Oh, I thought you meant the match. My bad.
Yeah, and so I'm like, 8 minutes. So Randy and KO make the save against the Tongans. I'm like, all right. Solo's sitting there cowering and he's smiling. I'm like, okay, which fucking Samoan is it? And my initial reaction, Monty, was I see a guy in red and black do a super kick, and I'm like, Hikuleo cannot lift his leg that high to do that.
I think the height as well kind of gives away.
But the thing is,
I understand your worries,
Because oh my god, here's a good Monty. They're in Backlash in France, right? When like the ref gets pulled out by like this hooded guy or whatever. I was like, Jacob, and like he reveals himself, turns around. I think he had like a mask on or some shit. And I'm like, Jacob, and I was like, wait, did Jacob cut his hair? I was like, oh, it's Tonga Loa. What the fuck? It's Tonga Loa. So I got burned before. So I'm like, oh, brother, who's this? Which fucking one is this? And I was like, wait, that's Jacob. I was going crazy. Oh, man. What an angle. I can't wait to cut the promo.
Man. Same.
Oh, my God, bro.
Same.
That fucking angle, bro. It's just so insane because I thought that they were just gonna like kill Roman that Friday after WrestleMania, just get it over with then. But then honestly, like this worked, and even though I didn't really like the Solo fake tribal chief stuff at first, because it didn't make any sense. He wasn't believable. He was literally doing a fake Roman voice in his voice, like trying to portray this like fake head of the table.
The way he talks to Paul.
He did the fucking
bro. His Roman cosplay backstage segments with Paul, like Romans used to be like, they used to have aura. You know what I mean? When Roman would sit in that chair and like look down and be like, make it happen, wise man. And he'd be like, yes, my tribal chief. And he'd like walk away. Like those like had aura, But
you hear Solo, make it happen.
Those shit suck.
Don't let me say.
It's just not there, is he? He just doesn't have the like presence, or he doesn't have the standing with the audience. Either.
This is for the audience, along with like you guys. Am I the one who has to raise my volume when Solo's talk? I can never hear him. Like I feel like every time they're talking backstage, I have to like raise my volume up because
no bass in his voice.
No, hold it, Solo. When is Roman Reigns coming or something? And he'll be like, the thing about it is, Roman Reigns isn't coming. I'm like, what the fuck? What did he say? What's going on here? Put a mic on his shirt or something, But awesome angle. And you know what the big thing about it is, Monty, is so here's the thing. Paul Levesque is meticulous and conservative and slow-paced to a fault. But it's one of those things where we saw the bad side of that at Clash of the Castle when Chad Gable got embarrassed losing to Sami Zayn. But the good side of it is moments like this, because the idea of the strategy is there are no breaks in the wrestling calendar. You have to produce content every week. There's no off season. And so how do you make the big moments feel big? Well, you turn the stove to medium, and then when you need to, you turn it up. And there's a noticeable difference because like the energy shifts because all of a sudden big things are happening. And what I felt with WWE in springtime was it was a very measured approach to television. Not a bad, it wasn't like the content wasn't bad, but like there'd be times where it's just kind of like, man, we need to get some of this shit going, right? And I remember the build to I think it was Clash of the Castle. I'm like, man, some of these stories just kind of feel like they're just running in place a bit. But now I've noticed the last week of WWE TV, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, between the Rollins return and the Braun Breaker angle on Sami Zayn, which was fucking amazing. The Wyatt Six, and now CM Punk and Drew, and now this thing with Jacob. It feels like WWE last week said, wake up. It's SummerSlam season. Wake up. And it kind of recreated a road to WrestleMania feeling. Like there's an excitement around the product and things are happening again. And so, there's positives and negatives to the approach. But this would be where you would say the positives kind of show itself. Is that like this is like they're basically almost actively telling you the switch is on. This is appointment TV. What's up, Rob?
And that's the thing I really noticed between like SmackDown and Raw. Like the difference, it's like you said with the Chad Gable stuff, it'll take months and months and months to get to a point. When rather with SmackDown, like it's going on instantly. Like we were like, when is Tama gonna debut? Is he gonna do stuff with AJ? And they were the night the SmackDown after WrestleMania, they were like, nope, here's Tama Tonga. And then in Backlash, they were like, nope, here's Tonga Loa. It doesn't take three or four pay-per-views to SmackDown to get it going. They get right to it.
Right. Yeah, man. I enjoy when SmackDown's eventful. It's a sweet 2 hours. It's just that when none's happening, it's kind of ass. Like SmackDown, the TV cycle once Randy was gone went home after the Saudi show. Like when Randy took those 4 chops and fucked off and left, those next couple SmackDowns were really lame. Like,
listen, bro, he's the man. He's the wrestler of the year. He's.
It just felt like happening because you got to pack. Listen, these things do account for something. Like there's a packed crowd in Chicago, and the crowd is gotten into it, and big things are happening. And it just felt like everybody that got time on TV to speak came off like a star. Like LA Knight is out there, Rob, and he's cutting a promo, and I'm like, yeah, it's LA Knight, man. He's a star. Even Santos, and his wrestling has been very disappointing the last year. But Santos is out there with he's dripped out, he's iced out, he got the chain, and he's talking his shit to LA Knight.
You feel like you know who Santos Escobar is.
But beyond that, he just came off like a somebody.
Yeah.
It's just a shame he doesn't work like a somebody because I'm watching him talk, and I'm like, man, can we just like download his mic skills into Andrade or some shit? Like, because he comes off like a somebody. But yeah, Jacob Fatu not debuting for like the last 2 months was frustrating, but the payoff here was very satisfying. I wonder when they do Cody versus Solo. Like, I wonder if they're just gonna burn that at Money in the Bank. I wonder if they kayfabe Dave Meltzer and like he was just a write-in and he's preceding Cody Jacob. I wonder if they're gonna do a trios match at Money in the Bank, or are they just gonna barrel on and do the Cody versus Solo thing at SummerSlam, which would be a mistake in my opinion. It would be a massive mistake.
It's just an angle that is, isn't it? To do Solo versus Cody, you got to expect like I would only suspect that they're definitely locked in on Cody versus Solo if it's like Roman Reigns or The Rock returning, because obviously they've obviously kind of got an idea how they want to play like the Solo thing into this. The Solo Sikoa thing is interesting because I don't think many people have been like super like we've already spoke about it and loads of it. Everyone else spoke about it ad nauseam at this point, but Solo Sikoa is not our tribal chief. You know what I'm saying? Like people just haven't really been buying too much into it. Some people do, but not many people have really been buying into it. And I think now that he's getting all these uncaged animals, like that's how they're being that's how they're being presented in WWE TV. Just like not even just Paul Heyman, just like the way that they're acting, the way that they're going on. I think now with Jacob Fatu coming in, you could start to show like cracks of like Solo Sikoa like losing control. He's out of his depth. He's definitely no tribal chief. He can't control these animals, And then obviously then you can kind of spin it into however you want to do it, because I know a lot of people are already saying like Jacob Fatu is the main man. You get me? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
so it's like if you kind of weave that into it, then obviously it gives you options to take that wherever you want to take it. You know, and like I said, people don't really buy Solo Sikoa as a tribal chief, head of the table, whatever you want to call him.
No,
Anyway,
they were having perception and credibility issues.
Yeah, exactly. So then. Like, I don't think he's a bad performer or anything. Like, I wouldn't say he's like great or anything either by any means. But I think if you're going to be thrusted into a position like he has, as like you are going to be like the fraudulent step in for Roman, as a tribal chief and stuff. Your presentation can only be so much, especially if you're not going to be able to like carry segments and stuff like that. And when your wrestling isn't anything that jumps off the page either, it's just kind of it was never going to be a position that he like flourished in,
Solo's not great at anything, and you cannot occupy a main event top slot if you're not great at anything. Even for all the complaints people would have about the Usos, there was a point in time.
Great TV characters, man.
I was going to say there was a point in time when they were great promos,
Mm-hmm.
And, like that's the thing. They were great promos and they were effective characters.
Right.
And that's the thing. Be great at something. He's not great at anything. And that doesn't mean he's useless, but then that means you cannot be a top guy. So that's
that spear was fucking atrocious. That spear was awful, bro. I don't know what.
Do you think, Monty, there was a point where they considered not having Jacob with them, and then they saw kind of like just the overarching fraudulence emanating from this 3-man unit, and they're like, all right, okay.
Yeah, I think Jacob was always the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of. I think so far they've done what they've always intended to do. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, besides WrestleMania, because everyone knows that story by now.
Sure.
But yeah, in terms of kind of debuting the God and Jacob and the impending arrival of like Hikuleo, I think he's going to be presented as like a big game changer, not to the extent that Jacob was, but like he's tall. So
I think genuinely, unironically, I think Hikuleo should just go to NXT. I think he should.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I just don't think it's what they're gonna do.
Right? I just do think, because like, what is he gonna be with the heels?
Nah. No,
I think he'll be with the heels, and he'll be like the big one.
So when Roman is inevitably back with the Usos, who are his two guys?
The Usos. So it's 1, 2. Sammy.
Okay.
That's 3.
Who's number 5? I was saying, who's number 5? Who's number 5?
Cody Rhodes. No, I don't know. No, I don't know, bro.
Literally, I think it should just be Hikuleo.
Wait, what do you mean?
As opposed to like, I don't think it should be like, should definitely be him, but I think it will be.
Sorry,
Punk is interesting
because Punk had that whole Punk had that interaction with the Bloodline on Friday, so he's got bigger things on his plate right now. He was unfortunately murdered on Friday night. So
yeah,
a lot of murders in wrestling lately. You got Jacob Fatu just hitting a hat trick. You got fucking the Wyatt family just. They've got guns and mallets and
because I've been privy to just the opinions and creative desires of CM Punk as of late. It was funny to watch the show on multiple levels because he got everything he wanted. And what I mean by this is he's been like, I don't know if you remember, Monty, there was one promo Punk cut, I think it was on SmackDown, his second promo, where he just calls out The Rock for like 3 seconds. I don't know if you remember that. He's talking. That wasn't like a thing they told him to say. He just wanted to do that. He was kind of like, well, he hasn't mentioned me yet, but I don't know why, but Rock, the reason he didn't mention me is because his arms are too short to box a guy, and like he just like calls him out, and it's like, oh, what the hell, or like in another promo where he's kind of saying like, hey, Roman Reigns, someday you're gonna be on the downswing and I'm gonna be on the upswing, and we're gonna meet. Punk, here's the idea. Punk just wants to work with the Bloodline, and he wants to mix it up with Roman and Dwayne and Heyman. And so Genuinely, I honestly think it's one of those things where he got to TV and he's like, "Yo, I want to do this," and they're like, "Okay,
Sure.
And so, yeah, all right, fine, sure, Phil.
Just sorry, brother, but people in chat keep saying Dwayne, and the thing is with Dwayne, yeah, is that like he ain't doing war games, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
To be Monty, he could absolutely be a gimmick in War Games if we're being real.
he could, but I
He
just
could absolutely be a Monty. Think about this. Think about the ending 5-on-5 just being an angle. Because here's the deal: Rock comes out as the 5th person for the good guy squad, right? They do the fucking West Side Story standoff, right? And then Rock just throws up some symbol, right? And you're thinking, and like the good guys, like, what the fuck is that? And next, all the bad guys just jump in, and Rock just walks across the ropes to the other side, and he's like, "Whoa, what?" And now it's 6-on-4, and then Roman, he's making a face like, "Huh?" Paul Heyman's making a face like, "Huh?" The Usos like, "What?" And you just see Jacob and Solo nodding at Rock, and they all just jump him, and then that's the finish right there. Rock does no moves. If anything, his moves are just a belt shot and a whipping and a promo and some blood, and then that's the close in a rock bottom. He easily could do War Games where he takes 0 bumps, actually.
Where he literally, I literally, he doesn't have to bleed, doesn't have to take a bump. He could just walk in and just be godly.
Chat saying he should do what Randy did.
That's what I'm saying.
Just sell for 25 minutes.
He could easily do. I don't think Roman. I think Roman, when he did the War Games, he didn't take any bumps. Like,
no, of course he didn't.
No, Rock could easily just look cool, come in, do a rock bottom, whip a guy a little bit, and then stand.
No, you can do it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, like, as of right now, I don't really think that's.
You ready for some Bloodline semi scoops, Monty?
Semi scoops.
I'm gonna drop this.
I don't even know what that means, but hit me with them.
What they mean is these aren't like locked in, but like they're probably right. All right, here we go. Let's see if this pops the number. I tweeted the link and I said buy to drop Bloodline semi scoops. So here we go.
You're so Carney, bro. Like, you're always calling Joe a Carney. Call me a Carney.
Yeah, we
you're a Carney
of this. So here we go. Expect Jimmy really soon. And by really soon, I mean like any week now. Roman Reigns has finished filming his movie. Roman Reigns is expected to be back on TV imminently. Expect Rock around November.
Oh, brother!
I don't know if I can wait that long for Dwayne.
This guy's got priorities and shit.
Yeah, making millions on movies. Who the fuck does he think he is?
Yes.
Nah, that's good shit. There was like semi scoops, so they're pretty. So I guess the talk coming from WWE is Jimmy's due back any week now. Roman's getting closer and closer. He's finished doing his out of wrestling obligations with the film or whatever it was that he was doing.
Yes.
And what was the last one?
Rock in November.
So that's obviously War Games. So maybe I'm completely wrong on that. I mean, yeah, like you said, none of these things are locked in, but they sound about right. They sound very realistic and things that you would expect WWE to at least be considering and talking about now. So
Rhea Ripley is pushing to do the Liv Morgan match at SummerSlam. They're not rushing her, and they're telling her you don't have to rush back. You can take your time because there's a chance her still takes a little bit like her recovery time, her timeline. It doesn't totally line up with SummerSlam, but she herself wants to make it to do SummerSlam, and I'd imagine like the plan there is some type of like custody of Dominic, like crazy WWE melodrama, like 3-way triangle thing, but she wants to be able to make it for SummerSlam to do that one.
No, I mean, I can understand that because like the Liv Morgan Dominic thing, like, although I wouldn't say it's like top tier, top shelf quality content or anything, it is hot, and it is like it creates a lot of like moments and highlights and viral clips and shit like that. So obviously it's like it's good business, and I can understand Rhea being on the sideline watching it all like explode on Twitter and shit every week and just seeing the angles and people wanting her to come back. Like, I can understand her wanting to like get back as soon as possible. I just don't think she needs to be rushing because I just think she's going to hit so big when she does eventually come back that there is no rush for it, So she might as well just wait, Make sure
wants to be in front of
she's 100%. Go on,
Right.
Ibu.
No, I was gonna, she just wants to be in front of 45,000 people. That's really all.
Yeah,
that
of course. But yeah, just wait, heal up, and when she comes back, it's gonna be one of the biggest things to happen this year. You know, like obviously we've got like the big Dwayne business, and you know this Bloodline stuff like that will probably take number one. You got CM Punk and the Drew stuff that's been amazing so far, and that's going to be like huge. And there'll be a couple of other things as well, but you know, there's Rhea Ripley, when she comes back, she's gonna be like she's anyway. That's the thing. Like she's already like on that top tier in terms of feeling like a superstar in WWE. When she comes back from this unfortunate injury, it's gonna be take her to another level. Then when Dom fucking turns on her for Liv Morgan, like she's going to be like one of the biggest things in the business, which she is anyway. But it's gonna take her to like another level, you know. So like I said, I don't think they need to rush her back or anything. And obviously, it seems like WWE are very skeptical about, you know, making sure she's 100% if she is going to try and come back for SummerSlam. But you know, see, well, I guess we'll see with that. We'll see. What do you think, Ibu?
Well, with Rhea, I'm not sure. I think that they're so heavy-handed with the marketing for Jey Uso as Money in the Bank. I think he gets tied back into the Bloodline story by getting screwed when he's on the verge of winning. I think the Bloodline are going to cost Jey in some way, shape, or form, and I think that'll lead to him inserting himself in this Bloodline business. I think out of that,
I was right there.
How many weeks separate Money in the Bank and SummerSlam? That's the question the answer I need to know.
Let's
do some research. WWE Money in the Bank 2024 is on July 6th, 2024, and SummerSlam 2024 is on
August 1st, right?
August 3rd. So you've got what basically just under 4 weeks or whatever it is.
Okay. I think Roman is going to come back on the SmackDown after Money in the Bank. That's my prediction. Based
off, you know, the recent talk that you've heard from WWE, which you just told the people, I think that's a pretty solid guess, to be very honest.
Yeah. My question now is, what are Randy and Kevin going to do at SummerSlam, if anything? That's what I'm curious about.
I do think Jacob Fatu is going to be wrestling like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in singles. He should kill them.
Yes.
And I adore both of those guys, you know, and I think our audience already knows that. But yo, we got you got you know.
you got a Brock Hogan in, brother. It's time.
Yeah. I'm fired up about Jacob Fatu, man.
Yeah.
Fired up. Excited to see where he slots. Obviously, first impressions, it's going to be pretty fucking high, you know.
SummerSlam is going to be 7-8 matches this year.
Sounds about right for Hunter's approach to pay PLEs.
Exactly. Basically, they're going to have an extra hour to play with than they normally do because it's SummerSlam. So, yeah.
All right, let's do some super chats, man. We're quite deep into this podcast. We've got a few super chats. We've got a few already piled up, but keep them coming, people. And we're gonna kind of like just chill out with some super chats for a minute. So get them in whilst we're on it. Songanda, Chanko, 35, Zar, appreciate you. AEW being competitive with NXT deserves way more criticism considering how bad the booking has been on NXT since the start of left. It's funny because the NXT audience isn't the sort of audience to like put, you know, a magnifying glass over the booking like main roster AEW fans will, and they're kind of just, as long as like the vibe is NXT and Trick Williams is kind of having a good time, and you know what I mean, like that audience they'll just eat it up anyway, you know.
Yeah, like they cheer for everything.
It's not good, but like what it's
fun.
Is.
I get why people like it. You know,
So,
I watch it every week. You know what I mean? So
it's like I don't think it's a good professional. I'm gonna try to make it sense like this. I don't think it is good professional wrestling. However, there's a great atmosphere, and there's a lot of new people, and they do a good job of bringing these new people along and developing them genuinely, because like they've taken Javon Evans from just the fun guy who's popping in as the young guy to now he's like one of the stars of the show. And it's only been 2 months. It's been 2 months, Monty, and this guy's one of the stars of NXT.
Yeah, they've done a very good job of just going with it, you know.
Yeah, and they bring the people that have any bit of potential, they bring them along really well. Obafemi, and in the past, Braun Breaker and the Creeds and Tiffany Stratton, and a couple of there's a couple success stories now. Roxanne Perez, I did not expect her to be a good heel. When she turned, it felt like one of the consequences of just being on the show too long, and you just have to do something different. But it's actually resulted in a better Roxanne. You know, Lola Vice has come along, and a lot of other people. And so, what I would say about NXT is that even though I don't particularly like it as a show, they are producing a lot of people that the fans have taken to and gotten attached to, and people that will be useful on the main roster. And because now there's a synergy between NXT and Raw and SmackDown, and there is a higher success rate for the call-ups because of the cohesion, now there's a reason to watch the show, because unlike in the late stage Black and Gold era, Rob, where you would watch the show and you could enjoy it in a vacuum, but there was the overarching feeling of, eventually they got to go and they're going to get ruined. Now it's like they're going to come up and they're going to succeed. You know, look at Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and so on and so forth. And so I say all that to say, now that WWE's hot, people can go, all right, let me look at the developmental stage and watch what's going on there, because it's actually going to matter and count into what's happening on the main roster. So that's kind of why I think it's successful right now.
Yeah, and NXT, like the women's wrestling isn't great, but they are decent to good women's wrestling, women's wrestlers, down there. So
yeah, it's pretty good, and they very much present them basically on the same level as the men, and I think their audience really appreciates that, and I think their audience just really appreciates a lot of different things. Like, it just feels different to a wrestling show, whether that's for better or for worse. Some people hate it for that exact reason, you know. It's too bright and colourful, it's too young, it's trying to be too hip, it's cringy, etc. It's got like bad acting, wrestler acting in it and stuff like that. But some people kind of just are along for the ride and they have fun with it, and it is an entertaining, fun vibe show, you know. A lot of young talent, as Ibu mentioned, just to kind of tag on what he was saying, it's it's producing these talents and it's letting them come along very well, because it's a productive show. You know, it's productive and their audience really enjoys it. So it's like, yeah, it's a growing show at the moment. It's the fastest growing. I know we joke about it on Worldwide a lot, but it is the fastest growing show in all of wrestling at the moment. So comfortably as well. You know, and he, as the super chat says, it is getting very, well, obviously it beat Dynamite this week, but it's getting very, even just on a week-to-week basis. I know the NBA playoffs and stuff has probably been a big factor in that and other things, but NXT, man, they're getting very close to those Dynamite numbers, man. Very close, and I think it's a bit of a meeting in the middle thing. Just to go back to what the actual super chat is saying, it's like Dynamite, yeah, there has been a decrease, but I don't think it's fully fell off a cliff. Obviously, this past week's rating did, but I don't think Dynamite's fully fell off a cliff. But at the same time, NXT is growing at a nice rate, you know, so it's like they've kind of met now, and now I think is a very interesting time if you are into that sort of thing, like the ratings and seeing who's, you know, got momentum, who's a more popular show, etc. Because now, especially coming out of the NBA playoffs, we'll see what AEW's actual baseline is. Not a great start this Wednesday, but yeah, we'll see kind of where AEW is going to kind of like even out, at least for the next couple months or so. And we'll see if NXT can continue to build, you know. What
I will say coming out of that is, because I spoke to people at AEW, I spoke to officials, talent about the rating and stuff. Like, I didn't even ask. I mean, like, it kind of came up. But what I respect is that nobody made excuses, Monty. Like, sometimes when things happen or things go wrong, like people within AEW will be like, you know, this and that, or da. With this one, it was just like, yeah, this is a really bad number. We'll see how it goes next week. We're gonna just continue to do what we got to do, and we'll have a better idea next week. And then based on that, we'll know the course of action. So I can tell you this. I'll give you another mini AEW scoop. A planned really massive match that was going to happen with AEW down the line has been moved up to imminently on television.
Yes, we'll see what that is. I think it'll be pretty obvious. Well, for the people that are watching this show, when that gets announced, I think the light bulb will go off for our audience when that match gets announced soon. But I guess let's just keep on this subject because it is one of the things we're going to get through. I know this is only the first super chat, but fuck it. Yeah, man, AEW record low AEW Dynamite rating, viewership, 502k average viewers, and 18 to 49 rating of a 0.16. The 35 to 49 was actually the demo which plummeted. The 18 to 34 was actually slightly up from last week. I think there wasn't one particular big reason. It's probably just an accumulation of things. But I do think the lead-in being something that gets literally a third of the views of their usual lead-in obviously is quite a decent size factor. I think a lot of people just jumping straight to the Kendrick Lamar's killed AEW. The Kendrick Lamar concert, of course, that was a very big thing in a general sense and in a broad sense.
Great concert.
Amazing, historic. But this is not a music podcast. Otherwise, I could talk about that for an hour. That was amazing and everything. But I think judging from the stats that have come out with this rating, 35 to 49 is not the people missing Dynamite for a Kendrick Lamar concert. And like I said, the young audience, 18 to 34, was actually slightly up. It was, I wonder what it was, the 35 to 49. Did we, what could it have possibly been, man?
People, adult men enjoying their bank holiday and taking their families out for barbecues and beach trips.
Juneteenth.
Yeah, man.
Just time off work and
a lot of people nationwide, man. They got a legitimate bank holiday. So not me, because I work for. Actually, never mind. I signed an agreement. I'm not.
No, what happened, bro? Who you work for, bro?
I was gonna say I'm genuinely. I found this out. I'm contractually not allowed to disparage my employer. But
I'm just saying.
Hey, all I know is they don't give me Juneteenth off, but a lot of businesses do, Monty. So people are gonna take advantage of that. And I genuinely think a decent amount of it, because look, you're talking about 35 to 49. That's the age of the average fucking dad in America. They're probably just taking the goddamn kids out. You know what I mean? So,
there has been holidays and shit before though. It's never hit it like this. Do you know what I mean? That's why I think it's more just kind of like an accumulation thing, and it was just a really unlucky week. The
thing is, I can't remember like for example, July 4th has hit Raw before, and those Raws are really bad. On July when Raw goes head-to-head with July 4th in recent times, they sink to 1.4 and stuff.
Yeah.
Where Dynamites, I can't remember a Dynamite that went head-to-head with a bank holiday or just a holiday where people get days off like this. So
I hear you.
Yeah. So I honestly think that's a big part of it. And my broad thought on the race until next week, because I think next week we'll have a bigger picture. My thought is bad number, it's just a straight up bad number. But when it comes to the analysis of why it's bad and what you should do to prevent another disaster like this, I think it depends on what next week is. Because if next week is back to normal, then okay, so the holiday, the concert, all that, everything that came in between affected it, and we're cool. But if next right, but if they come in next week and it's not recovered all the way, then it's fuck. All right, what are we doing, quote unquote, wrong? But then that leaves
chat saying NBA draft is Wednesday.
Yeah, but it's the worst draft in 20 years, and there's no prospects. And the most relevant person in the draft is somebody that's going to go 55, and that's LeBron's son, Bronny James.
I don't think Bronny's getting drafted. He's still in the
saying. To be completely honest with you, I don't want to hear it with that one. The draft is this year.
I don't know. As a UK guy, that just sounded like a big deal.
No. Normally, it's a huge deal, Monty. Normally, it's gonna slap up a wrestling competition. This year,
Oh, yeah.
But what I was gonna say is this: the other problem with this ratings talk, Rob, and I said this to I said this to Marcus yesterday, Monty. I saw a tweet where someone basically said, "Is it time for Tony to step down?" Right? And it's like, number
I see
one,
that tweet a lot.
yeah, and I'm like, number one, no, because for the numerous issues I have with Tony as a booker, have you seen the other available creative minds that exist in wrestling? A lot of them are doing podcasts and documentaries these days watching. These are cooked people with no new ideas. You know what I've noticed?
The clip I sent you earlier.
Yes, these guys are cooked. Have you seen Vince Russo talk about wrestling?
Bro, he said in WQW said, I am not writing a wrestling show. I write a television program.
Actually, you know what? I want to do a little something in the chat because I think a majority of our audience actually probably agrees with you. Like, for all Tony Khan's faults and stuff, like there isn't really many options out there that would even be on the same level as him, and he's far from perfect himself. But let's say Tony Khan is like, you know what? Fuck you all. You know, this is just, I'm just putting money into this now. I'm sitting back. Fuck the booking. Fuck the marks. I'm sick of Twitter, etc.
You know what? Low key, if I was Tony, I would step back for a month, just be like, hey, you want to see what AEW is like without me?
Oh no, let me ask the chat. Let me ask the chat this. Let's say Tony Khan does that, yeah. Who would be top of your list to come in as the new head booker of AEW? Or maybe the hire internally, like say it's Bryan Danielson or someone like that, or Will Washington or someone like. Who would you want to see announced as that? Well, reported as that name. That's what I want to know from the chat. Like who would be your, you know, your AEW bookers for Kevin Nash? All right, let's go through it. A lot of Danielson.
If you watch the clip, I'm over, brother.
Dragon,
Danielson.
It probably would have to be Danielson. It probably have to be. It'd probably have to be Danielson, to be honest.
Kevin Nash.
Jarrett.
Jarrett. He's got experience.
Hey Rob, I don't mind. You shared the book, nigga.
Jared's gonna be like, I need that AEW title about 6 times though. I can't.
Global Force, baby. Global Force. By the way, yeah, if I miss your super chat tonight, please just just make some noise in the live chat or something, because for some reason it's not like saving them for me, so I'm having to do it manually. Anyway, all right, so we've got Kenny. I think Kenny's an interesting one, I guess.
You know why I like Kenny? When AEW started, he had a lot of unorthodox ideas that are not traditional for American TV. It's because he never did American TV. And at the time when I watched AEW and I saw it, I was like, this is weird. This is not proper TV. But to help AEW stand out as an alternative, you need people with alternative ideas. A lot of these guys that you bring in, they don't have new ideas. They're so stuck in the past. And it's like, you're going to get derivative television because of that. You're gonna get stuff. It's gonna be stuff that always feels a little familiar.
They're either stuck in the past or they have massive WWE brain. By the way,
right? And it's like we've seen that for so long. I've been watching WWE since 2002. I've seen general managers and evil authority figures, more importantly, and all the stuff that comes in between. I've seen all those types of ideas. It's derivative, and so when you bring in the WWE writers or the people that have been from that system, or just people that came up in the business 20 years ago, they're not coming up with new concepts. They're not fucking like, what if we tried this and this? No, they're doing what they know. They're doing their frame of reference. They're doing the wrestling that they know from what wrestling is hot. And so it's like, I've seen it all in between. When I watch Triple A, I'm not like exaggerating or joking when I say this. It feels like WCW 2000. Like, and that's because Conan was there. Conan knows WCW. Conan knows WCW. He knows chaos, swerves, hot women, plot twists.
90% of the Who Killed WCW, he's like, when they bring up something happening, he's just like, yeah, that fucking sucked too.
and then you book the same stuff on your show.
Beast. Real wrestling booker.
Bro, I want people to know. I don't know how old Vampiro is. Vampiro is like, I think he's 50 plus years old. He has dementia, and he like legitimately wanders off and forgets spots during matches, and Conan books him in every Triple Mania and every show.
He has
hey, man. But anyway.
Wait, let me finish my
point. Go on, Bill.
I was trying to the point I was trying to get at, Monty, is the other thing about it is whether you replace Tony or not is there are a couple things AEW could do in the immediate future to try to make the product more commercially successful from a ticketing and rating standpoint. A lot of those things would entail AEW morphing into a promotion that's unrecognizable and likely a product that's worse. Like could they bring in Shaq next week to do a storyline? Yes. Would that do some good ratings? Yes. Would that result in a better show? It's tough.
Yeah,
Tough.
that's just hot shotting though, isn't it? You know,
That's what I'm saying though. Like it's like they could easily hot shot some crap to get AEW 800,000 viewers.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Oh, were you finished?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying that was the problem with WCW 2000. Is Vince Russo, like, I understand his idea and his thought process, but it's like Crash TV can only work so much at one time, and it's just like you can't book that as a wrestling show, bro. It doesn't work like that. You can have Shaq win, bro. David Arquette didn't even like winning the world title.
Oh man, I don't
know. Cody Rhodes, Jeff Jarrett, Hikaru Shida and Kenny Omega, Stefan Espinoza, who else? Kevin Nash again, Bully Ray, good God. CM Punk. We seen how that went.
We saw
Danielson or CM Punk. Shane McMahon.
Oh, that'd be so.
Chris Hero, Daddy Magic.
Chris Hero books West Coast Pro, and it's okay.
Jen Pepperman.
Jen Pepperman has power.
She does. Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, a lot of Shane O'Mac, you know.
It's very interesting. Shane actually likes wrestling, bro. He wanted to bring ECW back as like an IWTV show.
Yeah. Shane does like wrestling. He actually is aware of AEW, and Fightful will have some details on that, the Shane thing. But his actual ideas aren't good.
Yeah, Scott D'Amore, Dixie Carter, Taker. Will Washington and Bryan Danielson is probably what the realistic.
That's what would happen.
That is probably Jimmy Jacobs. It'd be like the big three.
Undertaker would be like that Luchasaurus fella. He's going places.
Might as well take
that Big Bill.
I think you can draw some money with Big Bill and Luchasaurus. I don't know. I think.
Anyway, we'll get back to the super chats, man. Shout out to us for $5. Appreciate it as always. Want to give a shout out to La Catalina for bailing out Stephanie Vakir while needing emergency surgery. My favorite match of the week. Yeah, she's come a long way over. Since she left WWE, and she's good, man. She's good, pro. Stephanie Vakir,
Catalina's
as well.
She's a nice lady.
What happened with Catalina? Like, why does she need emergency surgery?
Chat about
it.
Yeah,
she needs some type of thing. I don't want to misquote.
Yeah, you don't want to be. Oh well, she needs foot surgery when she could have something serious. I don't know. Anjan Pien, $5, appreciate it. Having that kind of roster and the collision yesterday was insane. How is that they still can't seem to utilize the roster to its highest potential? I don't know. I think a lot of it, honestly, with things like that, is an ongoing issue. And this isn't me being like Punk was right, bro, because I'm not doing that. But I do think there is I don't know what you'd call it, an issue or just a circle and just the way things are in AEW is that the availability thing, man. It's like
yeah. A lot of times they don't have that whole roster available on Saturday. Actually,
yeah. You think Tony Khan's like deliberately being like, "Yo," do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want all my stars on the shows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
A lot of the talent, like Saturday is just their day to hang out with their family and shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Tony Khan's put with people want to sign for AEW because you can get kind of like comparable money for less dates and stuff like that. But there is a thing with AEW where it's like I think in a typical, obviously I could be wrong. I don't have a contract right in front of me, but in terms of like what we've been told from like talent and stuff like that in the past, like most talent are contracted to like 50 dates a year, and like nobody does that. You know, so like it is interesting, kind of the attendance record of the talent at all of the live tapings. You know, some people are better at it than others, and I think the ones that are better at it than others take a real pride in it. You know, like you fucking FTRs and shit. You know, so it's an interesting one. But in an ideal world, you'd much like WWE, you would have like all your talent available as much as you wanted them, you know. But that just doesn't seem to be the case. So
I'm gonna be a bit of a dick here, Monty.
Be a bit of a dick.
I'm gonna reply this to him. Raj Giri tweeted, "I saw the Fast Nationals for SmackDown. That final number will be way up, one of the best in months." And I'm gonna reply to him, "Where did you get that number from?"
Yeah, so you would just say WWE, you know.
Like, is it so hard, Monty, for these people to just simply say, WWE/WWE PR has reached out to me with the Fast National numbers, and they're up 14% in the key demo, and da 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 da. Is it so hard? Why do you have to do this kind of like weird, like unsourced?
Because they probably say we're doing it like on background, you know.
Then no post.
So yeah, no, obviously no one has to post anything just because the source has told you. No,
they can't make it look obvious. Remember, because then they're the you're being paid by WWE.
But here's my thing: if I'm getting it from WWE PR and they tell me don't source me, but they want me to post that, like, oh, the SmackDown's way up, sign me a check, nigga. My Venmo is, you know, whatever at blah 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 blah.
No, that's 100% fair way of looking at it. 100%. Yeah, you want me to just do free promo for it? You know what I mean? That's basically what it is. So our AEW's rating wasn't good, and WWE's was amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
What do you get? He's not gaining anything, you know.
But also there is the kind of thing of like some people want to inform their audience, and if you get a number, they'll tweet about it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It's a weird one, but it's very transparent from the WWE PR side of things. You know.
Mm-hmm.
As for the individuals that post them, I think it's case by case. You know,
to me,
some people are nasty with it, like your Alfred Kuhn, you know. Yeah, then there's people who very much sometimes troll with it or whatever, you know. And there's some people who kind of just like throw it out there, like you know, like
they're just bot ass niggas. They're like.
Yeah, exactly. So the everyone's case by case, and I'm sure there probably is like cool like journalists that we're friendly with as well that have throughout on Fast National in the past, you know. So it's like, you know, it's very much case by case. But like I said, from the WWE point of view and what they're doing, it's very transparent. Like, it's transparent.
Yeah, they want to control the conversation, and it's just like, what are you getting paid in access? It's like they're not giving you good scoops. They're just telling you, hey, let them know that Raw's up. And it's like,
yeah, let them know we're killing it right now, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Let them know. Let the people know.
I feel like such a nerd tweeting that, you know? Like, I feel like
I just think if they're going to take that approach, they should really, like, link up more with accounts like, you know, people like Hang 'em High, Wrestle Arts, Wrestle Features, and just do it. You know what I mean? Like, just transparently do it. Like, don't do all this, like, slide Raj Giri and other journalists and stuff and media members, this stuff on the low. Like, just be upfront. Like, we want to control the narrative, you know. We're gonna work with our big accounts that have the most reach. And
I can't cap Nick Khan. Just tweet, bro. Because Nick Khan don't have a Twitter. Nigga, just make it Twitter and just fucking tweet the rating, bro.
Nah, that would take away from his aura, bro.
Ruin his aura, bro.
Take away from his aura, bro.
Could you imagine?
Tony Soprano wasn't on Twitter, you know.
The aura of Nick Khan is that he's so mysterious, bro.
He's a mafia boss, bro. He'll get you taken care of, you know.
I remember when Rock was pulling up the SmackDown, and we all saw the clip. All you saw was when he was at ESPN. All you saw in the background was Nick Khan just standing in the shadows, waiting to get on the private jet.
That was crazy.
I'll never forget being at Money in the Bank last year. Me and Joe, because he was out before the start of the show. Like, we was like, the big man, Nick Khan has arrived. You know, fired up anytime we see Nick Khan walking past. because
I'll never forget.
he lurks in the shadows. He's a mysterious guy.
A wrestler who shall not be named once told me Nick Khan comes off like he could get somebody killed.
I know who,
Bro.
which makes it even funnier. Anyway, Showtime Spurs, Fatu, $5 appreciate as always. Fatu, Obafemi. I don't know where, I don't know when, but that must take place. Yeah, worlds collide. Godzilla, King Kong. This is this box office stuff, people. Box office stuff. We built to those ones all. I can't even like someone tweeted it to me like the other day, bro. Like, I can't even like think about that now. I can't allow myself to go down that rabbit hole of just being shamelessly fired up for the next 15 minutes, But yeah, it's a big one for the future. And that's the sort on $2. Appreciate it always. I felt a man of tingle on Friday for the first time in a while. I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
We all felt it. Corey David, $2 appreciated. Jacob is cool, but fuck all that. Obafemi's that nigga. Listen.
What are you talking about, Corey?
Don't listen. We don't have to compare two bad bitches like this. We don't just enjoy them, man. As Rio Ferdinand once said, just enjoy them, man.
How did he do that? Because whenever I tried to put nigga in the super chat, it never worked. What kind of shit is this?
Right. Your shit is body.
What you say? YouTube took your black card off you.
Revoked it from you. I would put a nigga in there and be like, I didn't process. No, I didn't go through.
Wheelchairs $5. Appreciate it as well. I love how JR was like, we need Punk, and I miss Punk. Listen, JR fucking loves CM Punk, bro. Like, it's what it is. Like, and I think JR, like many of the older guys, my bad. JR, like many of the older guys, get to a point where they just fucking say how they feel, man. like yeah, I'm signed to AEW, but I mean, he's like CM Punk.
He's like barely at this point, so it's like whatever.
I love JR.
You said he's barely what, Ibu?
Employed by AEW, like barely.
Yeah, well,
come on, man. Come on.
What happened?
Come on, man.
The GOAT. Anyway,
I love Jim.
Corey David, $5. Appreciate it as always. With MVP's Instagram comments, I assume. I stand by these Hunter don't know how to book black wrestlers. Sean seems to be doing a better job at it. Javon, Treat, Mello, Kalani. I think it's said Sean. I think it's said Sean's doing a better job with it.
Yeah.
I think MVP's comments were very interesting and worth looking more into, sort of thing. Worth keeping a closer eye on. Seeing if there is anything that's kind of like outrageously bad or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? And then you can kind of draw conclusions from there. But obviously, I guess kind of touching more on MVP's comments and more of what he said. Obviously, another big thing outside of him kind of replying to people calling Triple H racist and shit is, he wanted to get the Hurt Business back together. Yeah, seeing like it was definitely something that was pitched. It was something that Triple H and the new creative did not want to do.
They were it was being teased on TV in February of last year. Remember, they were teasing the reunion.
When Omos and MVP were standing there and they helped Bobby win the match.
Not just that, Rob. There were segments where Bobby was talking to MVP backstage, and MVP was saying, "I want to bring the Hurt Business back."
And you saw MVP talking to Shelton.
Yes, and Cedric in the background. And they did a couple like Cedric Shelton tags on TV Mania season, and that was the muddy period when Bobby was feuding with they're setting up the Bobby Howdy stuff. Bobby had to do another match with Brock Lesnar. They're doing some of that stuff. We don't know how much Vince was interfering yet. It was really weird and incohesive. And the next thing you know, Howdy Bobby is dropped. Bobby and Lesnar go to a DQ. And then we don't see the Hurt Business reunion stuff again. It just fizzles. And my assumption at the time was always just that Vince was kind of like winning out on the I don't want this fight. MVP is claiming it's Hunter. And to all of this, it's hilarious.
The best one was when they were like, Triple H, is emasculating the black man.
Really funny.
And MVP goes, "You get it."
All I can say to this is this. Listen, I don't know who Nick's the Hurt Business reunion. I don't know the current social views or handling of black people that Paul Levesque does in 2024. I can't speak to any of that. But you know what I will say? What I will say is MVP is a real nigga. I will say I respect his right to voice all of his opinions.
OG.
I think he's an OG. I think it's pretty beast that he's this open while under contract. That's a man who doesn't have anything to lose, and I respect that. I respect him using his voice. And I think any fan that tries to dispute whatever he has to say or invalidate it or get upset about it, because I saw someone in my replies going, well, he's going to be on the street unemployed after fucking Monday. And I was like, can you take a break from carrying water for your favorite company? You know, MVP is speaking towards his personal experiences, and that's how he feels. And
yeah, so I mean, as long as it's how he feels, just how he feels,
like,
you know.
No, fucking MVP. No, that's how he feels. He got his shit off.
MVP is definitely, even if he doesn't unemployed, he's not gonna be unemployed, bro. That MVP is a good TV character.
Brother, do you think a guy who cares about his employment status would talk the way he was talking on Instagram? I think he's aware of what potential consequences come and doesn't care. But it also
I tend to very much agree that he's probably at a point where he does not care. Or people saying, "Oh, he's going to get fired." Like, bro, we don't care. He obviously doesn't. You know, it's pretty clear. So it's just like I said, when someone talks about their personal experiences, it's always important to validate it as their experience. You know, and obviously you can't really dismiss that because he's just talking his truth from his experiences. But that's not to say that you can, you know, that's not to say that like automatically, you know, Triple H just hates black people, you know. It's just, like I said, it's one of those things close to looking at. And I guess if you was to look at kind of like the booking of some of WWE's top black stars, you can kind of form the opinions yourself, and everything's case by case, you know. Just like let's look at the Bobby thing. It's like, okay, so they didn't reunite the Hurt Business, and if you compare where he was as like a former world champion, etc., when Vince was doing the booking and where he is now with Triple H doing the booking, it's like everything he just laid out, he kind of just fizzled out for him. Then, like, as far as the Hurt Business goes, it's like for me, the impression I got is that they clearly didn't want to go with like Cedric and Shelton again, so they've put Bobby with the Street Profits, and I think that's where you can kind of piece together, like, I don't know, conspiracies or whatever, because when you think of that, when you look at those three on paper, Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, they should be doing and have done more than what they've done, you know?
Yeah. And also,
because that's a great
part of that
trio of talent right there, you know?
Yeah. I don't know why I never understood why MVP wasn't added to that. Like, those are great athletes. None of those guys should be speaking for the full group generally. And so, Rob, I don't know if you're talking, but you're muted, I think. But I was gonna say,
I was waiting for you to finish.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, I remember like when they formed that trio, I'm like, this is a great group of talent. MVP should be the guy talking for them, you know. And he's been on TV, and he's the best mouthpiece in WWE right now, in my opinion, the best. And
Heyman's alive, and
Heyman is still really good, and he does the character work. He doesn't even do mouthpiece work in general, though. That's the thing.
I mean, well, yeah, because he's been with Roman, and Roman can talk himself. You get me? But like, when he's had to, though, you know what I mean? Like, Heyman can carry a feud himself.
But like,
you know,
do anything.
MVP's amazing, though, not taking anything away.
Yeah. The last time he's done anything of note is the Lesnar program in like a year and a half ago. And before that, he was doing great work. Do you remember, Monty, the build to Omos versus Braun Strowman? Like, MVP was cutting promos in the crowd talking about how, like, Braun Strowman, you can't handle Omos, the mighty Nigerian.
Yeah, he's a beat, bro. You
don't lift what Omos lift. You don't run what Omos run.
I love MVP, man. I think he's awesome. He's actually someone that I'd love to see on TV like more, whether it's in WWE, AEW, or wherever he ends up, you know. So yeah. He's awesome, man. But yeah, like there's Bobby Lashley, and if you look at someone like Bianca, like she was like Vince's ace of the women's division. She's still very much like a very big deal, top star, treated as such in Triple H's WWE. Like right now, her and Jade feel like the fucking you know, the Road Warriors, you know. And obviously Jade would be another one that you'd circle. You'd just copy and paste what I said about Bianca. Carmelo Hayes has pretty much done what you would hope he would be able to do on the main roster since getting called up. You know, we pinned Randy Orton on Friday. I think that was always going to be the case because I thought he was always going to be the one out of that triple threat to make it to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carmelo Hayes, he's had like a pretty bright start. I'm sure there's others as well, but I'm missing like Naomi's had a pretty. I don't think her booking's been disgraceful, but I don't think she's exactly like had the chance to like really run with the ball yet.
I think she's where she should be, to be complete.
Yeah, I think she's kind of where she should be, but I think every now and again with a talent like Naomi, you should kind of like give them the ball just to kind of see what happens. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I like it's a tough one. Like I said, it's definitely something to take note of what MVP was saying and what he was replying to and implying. But like every talent, every black talent, it's all case by case, and you can kind of piece together your own opinions. You know what I mean? Instead of like jumping to conclusions immediately of whether that's MVP sore and sour and Triple H would never do anything terrible because I love WWE, bro, or you know, or whether you're on the other end of the scale and being like, well, WWE and Triple H are clearly mad racist or whatever, you know. So yeah, think for yourself, people. It's basically my long way of saying. Think for yourself. Look at the evidence for yourself. See how you feel about it. You go from there, you know. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Another super chat. Wilshire's on $2. Y'all think Kayla is popping up in AEW? Yeah, Kayla Braxton left WWE, Bill. Big fans. We are big fans.
I had a feeling she was leaving. I actually asked around a few weeks ago, is Kayla leaving WWE? I asked Sean what's that, and Sean told me they say she's still here, but I had heard some whispers. I feel like if AEW knew she was leaving, they wouldn't have signed a million like interviewers in the last month because they added that woman Arcady Aura to do interviews. And I think now they have her doing ring announcing on Rampage. So they might have, I mean, they may have been preparing for this Kayla thing. But because I was going to say, signing Arcady and then also bringing in Alicia Atu tells me that they weren't aware of Kayla. Like if they knew she was becoming a free agent and they had interest in her, I think they would have left the spot open to let her do it because I think Kayla's really good at her job, to be honest with you. I think
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Kayla. Like when I heard she was leaving, I was actually like pretty sad. Like,
I mean, they can still use her.
What do you mean?
Like
the thing is, bro, they have Alicia, they have Arcady, they have Renee, they have Alex Marvez, and they have that other. What's the other?
Come on. Alex Marvez.
What's the other girl's name? The one who kind of looks like white and Asian at the same time.
Lexi.
Yeah, Lexi Nair.
Yeah. She's really like Ring of Honor. She's more Ring of Honor.
That's a lot of you're paying a lot of interview people, you know, and it's just like for what? You know what I mean? Like, do you need like 6 interview girls?
Trust, you could get away with literally having like 1, you know.
And like you don't need that many. So I don't know what's next for Kayla. Kayla, if you want to talk to WrestlePurists, let's swing by and let's chit chat. But
yeah, as long as you don't go down the Charlie Caruso route.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
If she announces her next chapter,
she was on Fox like the next day, bro.
Yeah. If we see Kayla Becker and she's like, my next journey, I'll be part of Outkick, or I'm a part of Fox, or I'm a part of Blaze, and it's just like, here's the problem with wokeness. It's like, oh no.
And she immediately started following End Wokeness again as soon as she finally got the text message that she was done.
Listen, that girl Charlie, she jumped so fast into just grifting, you know. She tried to get in that Tommy Lahren bag, not realizing that these like Fox News and the people that run Fox News, like they have a whole catalog of like pretty 33-year-old like conservative women that can just parrot their talking points. It's not that, you know, it's not that difficult. But yeah, best of luck to Kayla. I don't think she's going to AEW, but I'll ask. You know, just what you do, Kayla. Please don't do public cooning. Like, please, I want to continue to like you. You know what I mean? Just leave the niggas alone. You know.
And Jan PN $2, appreciate it. Forbidden Door needs more juice from partners. So far, 6.5 to 7 out of 10.
I
assume
agree with
that's your level of excitement.
I agree with the first half of your message. I would love a little bit more CMLL in there. I think the New Japan involvement is pretty suitable. You got Shingo in there. You got ZSJ. I feel like there's more, but it's like relative to what New Japan is producing right now and offering as a promotion and talent roster, I think it's fine. But we do need, like, ideally, I don't know what the visa situation is right now, but ideally, I'd love to see Mystico, Atlantis Jr., Templario, and Sobrano.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Without question.
If you wanted
Without
to.
question.
The problem is a lot of like AEW's talented mid card isn't going to be in that ladder match. Because I was going to say, could you man like an epic 10-man elimination tag AEW versus CMLL? I think it'd be super sick.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with the first part of the super chat as well. I think
Yeah.
there needs to be a bit more involvement. Like I think there's too many. Like there's already like 2 or 3. There's like 3 AEW versus AEW matches on the show already.
I do think the card is a strong card though. I think the card is very strong.
Yeah.
Bro, Danielson versus Shingo, Ospreay versus Will are like high end. Let me pull this.
High end in terms of quality, but when we're talking about selling a pay-per-view, do you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like big time matches, you've got Swerve Ospreay.
Yeah, they did a good job with that.
What are you selling the pay-per-view on? Do you know what I mean?
Ospreay. it's gonna be Swerve Ospreay this year.
That's what I'm saying. At the moment, that's your only like as much like Will love Shingo versus Brian, but in terms of like,
that's just like a great match, yeah, for sure. No,
yeah.
I get what you're saying. Let me pull this card up. Let me see. Yeah, let's see here.
So you got
okay,
Mox Naito, like that's like another one that's similar to Brian. That's similar to Brian Shingo in the sense of like Mox Naito, like Will love it. Great match, probably, but it's like, is that going to sell pay-per-views? Like,
well, I mean, I think I'm not worried about the buys for Forbidden Door because people always buy Forbidden Door, you know. And to be fair, Monty, we're saying this, but like last 2 years, like people have bought in Forbidden Door on the promise of great matches. And I'll add this. I think I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I thought the Swerve Ospreay promo segment, I was very impressed with it. I was really satisfied.
Really good,
yeah, because I was worried this build was going to be really lame and buddy and bullshit. Like I was really worried of that. I was like ready to like rage about it, to be completely honest with you. But they hit every note you needed to hit all in one promo. I thought it was actually, my hot take is I think it's one of the best AEW head-to-head promos to build to a championship match on pay-per-view that they've ever done. I think it's better than any Hangman Kenny Omega head-to-head promo. I think it's like on the level of like Eddie Mox and some of the great ones like that. Some of the great ones like Punk and who am I thinking of? No, not CM Punk. That wouldn't count because it wasn't a title match. But it was just really strong. They put over that championship like it was something worth dying for, let alone fighting for. They put this over like a life-changing piece of gold that you literally work your whole career towards achieving. And once you get it, it changes you psychologically. Swerve is talking about how he has no friends because he cared about this and
Look at me.
Look at me. Took his shades off and said, "Look at me." You know,
yeah, those dark circles that you get.
I'll tell you what, man, that was the business right there. That's wrestling. You sell a match like it's all or nothing, life or death, fate of the universe is on the line. This is what it's all about. And I'll tell you what, Monty, I didn't even think about what the rest of the card was. All I knew was I was like, I'm going to buy this pay-per-view because they have sold me on Ospreay and Swerve. And the other benefit that the match has, because there's so much juices, they're connecting at the right time in the sense that Ospreay is white hot. Swerve is the man in the company, and the viewer, in theory, has no clue who's winning this match. And so, when it comes to the unpredictability, the intrigue, and the stakes, and the seriousness with which they treated the AEW Championship, I thought they did a very, very strong job selling you on Ospreay versus Swerve. I was really, really happy with that because there was a chance that build could have been really fucking lame, but. They took it seriously and they treated it like adults. So I'm into the Forbidden Door card personally. There's a couple matches that have been TBA that I'm not crazy about. One of them did get announced, which is the Learning Tree tag that I don't, I could live without that. I don't need MJF versus Hechicero personally. Like that doesn't do much for me personally. But
it's weird booking, man.
Yeah, but looking at the rest of this, You know, and you guys know I hate ladder matches, but a ladder match with Mark Briscoe and Leo Rush and Takeshita, sign me up. Swerve Ospreay looks great. Let's see here. ZSJ Orange Cassidy. It's one of those matches where, like, because I'm so tired of Orange Cassidy, I'm like, eh. And then in the moment, I'm like, my God, these guys are killing it. Tetsuya Naito Moxley. You know what's funny about this one? I don't get jazzed up for modern Naito, but for whatever reason, Mox knows how to work with him. And I don't know if you saw their Windy City Riot match, Monty, but they had an honest to God 4-star match. So yeah, I think Forbidden Door is looking good. What I'm curious about is what happens after, but I think the show is going to be strong. And I think I'm not worried about their pay-per-view buys, to be honest with you.
I'm not. I mean, every time people get worried about that shit, like they come out the next day and they come out like the next week and then we're like, oh well, we actually did like a gazillion views.
Their buys are more consistent.
Dynasty didn't. You know,
yeah, but it's Dynasty. You know what I mean? Like their buys, generally speaking, are more consistent than their ticket sales and ratings. Like the
ticket. If you're gonna pick one, you know, it would be the ticket sales. If you're gonna like magnify one, you know, because even though like the Dynasty number was quite eye opening in terms of like underperforming under their average, you know, Double or Nothing very much did return back to average. So
yes,
we'll kind of say Forbidden Door is usually a little bit under the average because I think it's just all the outside
like a
involvement.
Straight up AEW show,
yeah. So I think if it'll be. I think it say if AEW's average is like 130, I think the Forbidden Door average is like 120. So it's like, you know, it's similar range. So we'll see. Obviously, we've still got a bit of time to wait before we see those numbers and even the full completed card, so we know what we're actually talking about, you know.
In conclusion, Tony had a CMLL tag.
Yeah, man. I think we need more novelty. Do you know what I mean?
Not too much. So let's not make this card.
Yeah, let's not take the piss. You know, but like a War Dogs match, a CMLL match, I did. You know what I mean?
Move the learning tree tag to the buy-in.
We'll just don't do it. Anyway,
it's already been added, so it's too late.
Yeah, no, just you know, wrestling's hard subject to change, brother. Brother for 199, appreciate it as well. Triple H got Jacob on the Randy and AJ anabolic cycle,
bro.
It was looking in good shape, brother.
That nigga went on
Ozempic.
That man went on Ozempic. He turned around and I was like, this dude is completely slimmed down.
Darren Walker for fans appreciate it. Don't forget about the other big WWE debut that is Joe Hendry in NXT. Most viewed clip on WWE X Counting 2024. Give us Joe versus Rocky Maivia WrestleMania 2025. Yeah, Joe Hendry's a very viral gentleman at the moment, you know. But you know, Darren Walker's trying, bro. It's what he always does. Like, you can't. It's a shame that Darren Walker used to have actual takes, and there would be hot takes because like, people jump him in the chat. But you could tell that like he had like real takes, and now he just wants to like get reactions out of Ibu. And, you know, it's like, come on, Darren, talk to us, brother. But that being said, let's talk a little bit about Joe Hendry, only for a few seconds.
Do we have to?
That's why I said only for a few seconds, because he did actually achieve that feat that Darren mentioned in the chat, you know.
Yeah.
The most viewed WWE clip of 2024, and he is very much like a viral star, you know. And I think fans see the clips and they are entertained by him and they're along for the ride and they're willing to, I believe, in Joe Hendry and the memes and but I think it's kind of like, what do you actually want from him? Because honestly, I thought, even though I thought it was too over, but I actually didn't have that much complaints about his usage on NXT. He got the pop, he got a chance to talk on the mic, and what I would have done, I wouldn't have had him immediately eliminated. I would have let him do like a couple, you know, done a little bit of shtick or whatever in the Battle Royal, and then. Because the money, I think, is him having like some bullshit backstage feud with Shawn Michaels where he makes a music video for the WWE audience and they can all pop and tweet about it and stuff. Like, I don't think the money in Joe Hendry in WWE is him like going for Trick Williams' title or anything like that, or even wrestling much at all, if at all. The money in Joe Hendry in WWE in his collaboration is like letting him do the things that, you know, has blew him up and what has made him viral. Let him do a music video on Shawn Michaels or some shit or something like that. Because, Ibu, are you interested in seeing Joe Hendry wrestle?
No.
Well, there you go. Do you know what I mean?
Do you believe in Joe Hendry?
No, I don't think you're interested in seeing the music. Go on.
No, I am. I mean, Joe Hendry. I like Joe Hendry. I'm not a nigga that will post his meme 100 times a day though. Like I Joe Hendry cool or whatever. He's funny sometimes. Like I'm glad that he's gotten over from like being basically a shitter in WCPW. But he's been doing this gimmick since WCPW, and there's a reason he is been like hired anywhere major, bro. And like it's
Sometimes
fun
it
to a
takes
point,
time,
but
brother.
bro, it's fun to a point, but bro, we don't need main event. You saw we just got with Ethan Page at Battleground. We don't need that with Joe Hendry. Trust me, you know. That's
but Ethan Page, he's a valuable piece to NXT, you know. But yeah, the Joe Hendry thing, it's kind of just like give people what they actually want, if that makes sense, because I think it's pretty clear what, even though fans kind of don't know how they'd book things and shit, but like I said, I don't think wrestling fans are like, oh, I can't wait to see Joe Hendry have a match with X, Y, and Z. It's more so like they just kind of want to see him be able to pop for his theme, and if he does some shtick, like, you know, like I said, his music videos and his segments and stuff like that, I think that'll satisfy the people that really want to see him.
You know, the thing is,
I'm not a personal believer in like Joe Hendry. Go on, Ibu.
I was going to say, Monty, the thing about it is some of these WWE accounts who have never watched him wrestle or seen him cut a promo or seen anything of him at all except for the song. These are people clamoring for him to be Monty. There were people that wanted him to replace Chad Gable in the Money in the Bank qualifier, and to that I say, why and for what reason? Like there are people
because they don't know what they want, man. And that's what I'm telling you. Like they think they're like, oh yeah, I want Joe Hendry, so there's a space open. Let me just put him in it. Like, but the reality is, like, do you want to see Joe Hendry working with these people? Like, what does that actually look like? Do you know what I mean? Like
these WWE fans, like they clamor for these people that they've never seen. Like Joe Hendry. The other one is Zilla Fatu. These people want Zilla Fatu inserted in this bloodline story, and they've exclusively seen him, Monty, through gifts where he's doing Samoan spikes. And as somebody who has watched numerous Zilla Fatu matches, I promise you, the only things he does worth like while are the things that make clips. Literally, like anything halfway decent is what gets clipped. But he cannot wrestle yet because he just started. He genuinely doesn't know how to wrestle yet. And they hide it by giving him multi-person tornado tags. So I that's my problem with meme culture, to be completely honest with you, is that way too many big accounts with big voices clamor for like people and things like pushes to happen for people that they've never watched, people that they've exclusively consumed through GIFs and TikToks and clips. And listen, there's nothing wrong with like popping for a meme or laughing or, you know what I mean? But it's when we overreach with it. The same thing happened with Awesome Truth. You know, is that like people like, no man, let it happen. Awesome Truth, oh LOL, they're funny, they're this and that. And then they push these companies to then push these people. And look what happened there. You know, don't hinder gender, LOL. You know, and I'm not saying I'm not even trying to like dog Joe Hendry, but meme culture is just so like disturbing to me because of this, and people clamoring for Joe Hendry to get signed and get pushed and be this big dude. And it's like, at least be familiar with who he is before you make these posts.
Should plan to someone in the chat. Someone mentioned that Zilla got kicked out of Reality of Wrestling, but he is actually back with them.
Yeah, he's back with
him and Booker T made
doing
up
dates. Yeah, so he kind of been that dude. Anyway,
hands and everything.
And that's the sort of $2 appreciate. Need Jacob to call Cody a cracker before SummerSlam.
That would be awesome. Yeah, he should do that.
Dunno.
I will dog walk your bitch ass.
Pay $35 just to watch Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero Real Graps. Yeah, man, that's good shit right there, brother.
I'll tell you this about
high quality shit right there.
I'll tell you this, and I mentioned this to Monty and Rob before I went on there. Watching the stream of CMLA that was available to me, it took me back to like when I would try to watch overseas wrestling in like 2010. Right before I gave up on wrestling, I try to find like Dragon Gate and Noah, and I gave up because I was watching streams that were mirrored, filtered, fucking, like you're getting a thumbnail view of the screen in the corner with a big background border surrounding it. There's music blaring or something, and it was just really crazy. I was in the trenches to watch CMLL, and it was because the product is that good, and it takes me back in that it's so hard to access without if you're not legally paying for it, that it legitimately takes me back to the days of wrestling overseas pre-streaming. But I did.
You should legally pay for it, then, you piece of shit.
$5.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna
All right,
start.
bro.
calling you
Listen.
out, like,
Why niggas talking about why didn't you just buy the product? I ain't gonna lie, bro. And it was the same thing if it was with New Japan. If New Japan was trying to charge me $35 a month, I wouldn't have it. But I have to. But New Japan is charging me $10 a month. That's why I have it. If they were, if Peacock was charging me $100 a month, I wouldn't have it. But I did the Black Friday $20 for a year. That's why I have it.
Do you niggas think I'm gonna pay for Netflix when Raw goes on that shit?
Are you dead ass? Like,
most people. No, but to be fair, most people have Netflix anyway, bro. Like,
you
I
fucking
don't.
crazy, nigga.
yeah, you
Netflix?
don't. But I'm just saying, most people have that anyway. So
Not only that, Monty, but Netflix is also talking about cutting off the services that are below $30. So they're basically gonna say, yeah, you're gonna have to pay $30 now when they go on fucking Raw goes on Netflix.
Insanity.
I don't even know what the difference is are in the UK, but I don't think we've got a $30 or £30 one. Anyway, yeah. Will Chisholm, $5 appreciate. Is Dave right about Julian not working NXT Heatwave because it feels like Lola is the Roxanne match? I think you just basically answered your own question, brother.
Right.
So yeah, not much to add there, bro. Trust your instincts on that one. Charles Spurs, $5 appreciated. People crying out for Scott D and Moore scares the hell out of me. If Tony Khan steps down, give it to Will Washington till the end of the season. Give it geeks until the end of the season.
Yeah. And then in the offseason, you reassess, you look at the free agency market, and then you decide if you want to upgrade Will from interim to permanent head coach, or if you want to.
Yeah, you have a look at what sort of transfers you can make to,
Yeah.
It's yeah, man. Scott D and Moore, I don't think that would be a good fit, though. I agree with you, brother. And I don't hate Scott D and Moore as a booker at all. I don't think he's great or anything either, like the top TNA fans. But anyway, Kale, £50 was appreciated. Not an Ospreay guy, but I've noticed an uptick on criticism towards his matches being samey. Bad faith account aside, what do you think of this? I think Will Ospreay definitely has a style of epic that he goes for, and I think it's with a lot of the modern guys that work a lot of matches but maintain a really high level in recent years. I think it's kind of, unfortunately, became one of those almost unavoidable things unless your name's Brian Danielson or Gunther, maybe, But it's like, I remember when Shingo was at the peak of his powers, bro, in like the pandemic and shit. It's like he was having great matches with anyone and everyone, but they were very much having his match. Do you know what I mean? And I think Ospreay has a certain way of doing his epics and like a lot of kickouts and obviously very explosive, dynamic. He does a lot of high spots, etc., etc. And it's very easy to recognize kind of like a Will Ospreay epic. I think it's a valid criticism. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, But say, for example, when you look at like last night on Collision, he had a very good match with Brian Cage. He had a very, very good match with Brian Cage in the main event. But it was just kind of like, what did it actually do for Ospreay? Do you know what I mean? I think there is like there's a weird line to walk with that stuff. Because if he wrestles a lot on TV, he's obviously going to go all out and wrestle his epics. If you get your TV audience too used to seeing those epics, they become less special. And that shouldn't be the case with someone that's talented and as great as Will Ospreay is in the ring, I don't know, it's a weird one, isn't it? But I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking shit. What do you think?
Well, I think Will he's 30. He's 30, 31 or something. Will is an awesome wrestler. I think he's just encountering that phase now where you just, as a performer, have to figure out um, the nuances of wrestling on weekly TV. Bryan Danielson figured this out in the 2010s. And what that is, I don't want to sound like those fucking, dumb podcast people that are like, oh, just save it all for the pay-per-view, brother, or just slow it down, kid. I'm not saying that, but what I will say is try to start creating different approaches to things.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so when you do that, you have different gears and modes to enter, and you can have a great TV match that isn't necessarily your pay-per-view match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do your pay-per-view match regularly, you almost burn it because now it's like people are going to react less viscerally
100%.
to just how you do your big match. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson, I noticed it really clicked for him around like 2012. He tagged with Kane, and he said this before. He said that like tagging with Kane made him a better performer in a weird way because it was a challenge that made him have to figure out like what other aspects of his game he even has, and that kind of helped him develop his sense of humor and implementing the comedy in the wrestling, and then also TV tag wrestling, for example. And then he kind of adjusted in different ways, and when he came back from the head injury in 2018, he had to work a limited style that was less physical to like his his upper body. So I see all this to say, Ospreay's fine. He's great. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. For his sake, if he doesn't want to dilute his awesome great match, because the truth is, though, it's kind of crazy that with how many great, amazing top tier Ospreay matches it is, you would think people would have gotten sick of it a long time ago, and they have not broadly. And so, but if you want to keep that for another decade, I think you have to then approach TV slightly differently. Shawn Michaels specifically, like he did his epic like twice, 2 to 3 times a year. Now modern wrestling demands more than that, and so Ospreay cannot do that. But again, it's just start developing different approaches to TV matches.
Yeah, I agree completely in that sense because it's like it's the reason why I mentioned Bryan Danielson as well when I was talking about like how it's a difficult thing to do, man. It's like Bryan can have his pay-per-view matches, but I think it's just kind of you can tell when he has his different TV matches, yeah, that like he looks at his opponent and thinks, what's the approach I should take for this
Right.
10 minutes? Do you know what I mean? Whereas with other really high level performers, like obviously the example we're talking about is Ospreay, or I'll use Shingo earlier, it's like they more kind of plug people into their thing, whereas Bryan's like super like adaptable and fluid with his opponents and how he chooses to approach them, and he can pull off every single way. If he needs to be the dominant cocky dick fucking heel, like he can do that, like beating up a younger guy like a Daniel Garcia or something. Or if he needs to struggle against a really big physical opponent, he can do that. He can also he even showed us something different with the Ospreay match, like when he's going against like a super athlete with perfect levels of execution that's just outgunning him. He can work that match as well. He can have the even epics. He can, do you know what I mean? He's a great tag worker. He can do all that. He's so layered, So, obviously, Will Ospreay is already a phenomenal wrestler. Taking fucking advice from idiots like us, he don't need to by any means. But there's still levels for him to go, no matter how good he is.
It's why even though he's like in 2024, he's a far superior athlete to Kenny Omega. I think Kenny's still better. I got to see what Kenny's like post injury, but
yeah, of course.
I think Kenny's wrestling brain is wider. I think.
Yeah.
And I think Kenny Omega had the Danielson skill too. I think Kenny Omega was able to have different approaches to matches depending on the opponent.
Yeah, and some people are really great at that like TV approach of like mixing it up and approaching things differently depending on your opponent, who aren't necessarily like, the people you'd class as like the best in the world or whatever the fuck, It's just like some people just kind of get that TV wrestling thing really down, It's like, when was the last time we spoke about like a Rey Mysterio epic pay-per-view match? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but bro, he is still like an elite level TV worker, So it's like, it's just different approaches, man. Some people get it down, some people it takes a bit longer, some people just don't like get it properly, you know. And some people are good at TV, but not so much at doing the epics to kind of lose their footing and kind of run out of ideas, you know. But I don't know, man. It's. I do think there is something to it, but I don't think it's anything where it's like, hey, Ospreay's bad because. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's anything remotely close to that. It's just something to kind of I guess if you have got an eye for it, it's something that you will notice about his longer matches that he has. I think they should try and mix up his match times as well in AEW. You know, like if they are gonna book him in TV matches, like let's see what Ospreay can do in like a little fucking 5 minutes with someone. You know, like let's just see what happens. Get him into more tags and shit like that. And like you said with the Bryan example, like the tagging with Kane, it did a lot for him. You know. I'm not saying throw him in a tag team. He's obviously going to be a top single star in AEW, but I mean, as in, like, he can still work some like all-star tags and shit like that. So do some more of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think tags would also preserve Will for sure.
Yeah, man. Matt Hennessy, €5.99. Appreciate it. Do you see Andrade going heel and being paired back up with Zelina Vega? His best run on American promotion was the NXT heel run with Vega. I'd honestly love to see it. Like, I do think sometimes you have got to avoid just going back to what was good years and years ago, especially with like Triple H. With he's such a black and gold merchant, you know, like with some of the people he was bringing back when he first got in control. But like, I think that is definitely one of the things I'd circle as like we need to recreate like that aura, that vibe, that character, you know, of Andrade and Zelina. That was a great pairing, man.
Because it doesn't seem like she's going really anywhere with LWO.
I know it's one of them, and it's like it's nice to see her like with Ray, and she obviously like really like loves being able to work with like one of her heroes in Ray and stuff like that. But it's like, what's it actually doing for her? You know, other than it keeps her kind of like on TV. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Obviously, at the minute, she's kind of maybe she's about to get a title match with Liv, but obviously we all know where that's going to go. So, yeah, big fan of Andrade and Zelina. Adam Legend, $5, appreciate it. If Tony took a sabbatical, Kenny could book Dynamite and Danielson could book Collision, and they team up for the pay-per-views and tournaments. I don't know. Ibu, what do you think? Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson. Is that a booking duo that excites you?
It sounds amazing on paper. I don't know how it would be in execution, but
Yeah.
it sounds promising, man. At the end of the day, you want AEW in the hands of people that get what AEW is and love professional wrestling and can serve their core audience first and foremost. And so I think having them with a writer or two that can serve the commercial interests of the company would not be negative. That's why I think when Kenny's able to travel and come back behind the scenes, I think he would be an asset to the product.
I agree, man. I agree. I think obviously the sooner he, the sooner he's healthy to travel and that, the better. Obviously, it goes without saying, you know. Yeah, hopefully it's not too long, man. But yeah, he's had to deal with a pretty serious issue, Kenny has with that diverticulitis. It's not nice when it gets serious. Not a nice thing to have. Hush 499. Why is it not working? There we go. Hush 499. Appreciate it as always. I won't lie, when WWE is doing really well, it's hard for AEW to pick up any momentum. We saw this post-Sting retirement during WrestleMania season. That's just the way the industry works, and it applies to any other industry as well. To be honest, just business in general. Like it's always going to be a steeper, harder, just more difficult uphill struggle as a number two when the number one is doing so well. And me, Ibu, I'm sure even Rob's touched on it on some of like the Raw reviews and stuff like that as well. Like, we've spoke about it a million times, bro. Like AEW, when AEW first came about, WWE was like
horrible.
So it's like they had the boost of that. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously they lost that boost, and now WWE, like you would. Even from a critical point of view, like I'm not just talking about like fans on Twitter who clearly pick a side. It's like you could absolutely make the argument that WWE puts out a higher quality product. Do you know what I mean? Even if you think the in-ring is better in AEW, do you know what I mean? WWE's in-ring isn't like a joke anymore, like it definitely was.
I think even bigger than that though, Monty, is in AEW. They're aware of this, and I was talking to someone at AEW about this today. Is they're taking a look at what's our reason for existing now that WWE not only is serving their fans properly, but they're also like trying to neutralize their strengths because the blood,
100%.
the blood, the interpromotional activity, good wrestling and stuff. It's just what is setting us apart now, because those things set them apart from WWE at the beginning, and so that's something that they're trying to figure out and navigate now, and it is difficult. It's like, because before it was like, oh, well, I prefer AEW over WWE because they do these things that WWE doesn't do anymore, or doesn't do in general. In 2019, 4-star matches on TV weren't normal. In 2019, blood on TV and cursing on TV wasn't normal.
Yeah.
In 2021, seeing a New Japan guy on American TV to just work a guy in another company was not normal. And so WWE are doing these little things to try to neutralize what makes AEW unique. And so, it's just interesting from that standpoint.
Yeah, because WWE did like a bunch of matches where they sent a bunch of NXT guys to Evolve shows. They could have easily had Evolve people on NXT. They just didn't do it.
Yeah. So,
Monty, you're muted. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, Monty, we can't hear you.
Whoops. No, I was just saying WWE work with everyone now, so friends with everyone now.
The thing
That's
is,
definitely the perception they're trying to create.
A good amount of some of the companies they have left to work with aren't the best,
Well, AAA is quite. I mean,
y'all not hyped for Axiom versus Laredo Kid?
Vikingo's still fucked, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vikingo's knee. What is it? His knee. He had to have knee surgery and shit. But obviously, like Vikingo Ray or something like that. Like, obviously, that would be really cool.
Can they do that? I thought Vikingo was like under some thing with AEW, right?
It depends.
Bro, I've not. This is what I mean, man. Like, it's difficult when they're not fully signed and they've got like these weird different deals and shit. But anyway,
that's right.
Yeah, WWE want to be friends with everyone now, and to what Ibu said, they've definitely a lot of AEW's unique and strong points and things that made them stood out, and their purpose in the industry is like it's been neutralized a lot by WWE. So now they can't just kind of like coast off. What doesn't WWE do that fans want to see? Like they can't just do that now. You know what I mean? It has to really stand by itself, and it has to draw by itself, and it has to have different things going on. But anyway. Black Yakuza 94, $10. Appreciate you as always. The simple fact is that running a Fed isn't easy. Yeah, especially when there's only been one top dog for so long. AEW has its work cut out for themselves, and there's no simple solution either. Yeah, I agree, man. I think when people say like that they need to do this thing and then this will happen and things will fall into place, something like that. There's like from the ground up, man, like there's all different things. There's little tweaks. Some are bigger than others, and there's some like more wider things, I guess one day maybe I'd give more suggestions if we had the time, and I'd fully explain them and shit. But I don't think that's now is the right time to like break down AEW piece by piece, But yeah, just as someone who's followed them, especially very closely, being like a news aggregator and like really having to like listen to what people say and read what people say, and obviously then relate to other people and stuff. It's like, I know a lot about AEW and how they operate, and there's all the things that I hear as well behind the scenes that we can't say to you guys or whatever it is. It's an interesting company, man. It's an interesting company, but I think your first line is very right. Running a Fed is not easy. It is not easy. It is not. Move on. Hush 199. The harsh truth. Punk getting fired hurt AEW. It definitely didn't help. How much it hurts is very kind of like it's hard to actually judge. Because there's no like factual way of like proving it. So it's just kind of like what you're basing it off yourself. But what I will say, I don't think there's any way you can say that it was a good thing, you know, because I don't think you can say that about any promotion losing their like top star who's still good. You know what I mean? Like Punk is still able to produce good television, regardless of whether you think he's like fragile, injury prone, etc., etc. Like I think this most recent WWE one since he's been injured has proven that like he can still be like such a valuable asset to your company. And it's not a thing like Hogan, where like he was the biggest star, but he was producing absolute shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think there is any way that you can call it like a positive Punk leaving, even if you're like, oh, well, some people in the locker room are happy, and now it's like, what has that counted for? You know? Like, and I'm not saying you should like fuck the talent in the locker room. I'm not saying that before anyone jumps me. I'm just saying like it's like, I don't get how you can draw any positive from it. I don't know. Ibu, you probably a bit better to speak on this since you're the Punk guy. What do you think? How much does it hurt AEW?
I mean, they were down a guy that they could do big business with, but ultimately he had to go when the time came that he had to go.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is.
Yeah, it came to a very unfortunate conclusion, but
He didn't want to.
naturally, you don't want to be there.
That's what he's talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, in a perfect world, Punk coexists harmoniously with the top guys in AEW, and they make magic.
Yeah.
But we don't live in that world, so we had to go.
Matt Hardy, you motherfucker. Matt Hardy, when I catch you one day, boy.
Where's that?
All right, man. All right, let's try pick up the pace a little bit. Pick up the pace a little bit with these super chats. Amari 316 V2 $5. Appreciate it as always. Ibu literally breathes. WWE fans on Twitter. You're an AEW dick rider. You're on Tony Khan's payroll. You hate WWE. Yeah, there's a lot of WWE fans that have clearly just kind of follow like the Gareths and the Jobbers of the world and don't actually know what Ibu thinks about anything. And when one of his tweets gets outside of his followers' bubble and it's not glowing about WWE, like they start throwing these fake assumptions on him and shit. You know, like he never says anything bad about AEW, or like he doesn't actually like really enjoy WWE and shit like that. So that's always interesting to see when Ibu's tweets reach outside the desired audience. You know,
You love AEW.
The picture of him and Tony Khan is always posted.
You guys, that's much talk coming from a guy who got ignored by Tony Khan.
It's just so foolish.
But yeah, anyone who follows Ibu knows that he's very happy to be critical of both companies. So.
I'm a guy with wrestling opinions that praises and critiques wrestling where I see fit for both sides.
Whilst eating down the camera. The mic, sorry, my bad. But yeah, so Gunda Chanko, 35 I appreciate it. Thoughts on Tony D? I like his in-ring, but the goofy gimmick and the faction holds him back. He would have been a hit in 2002 against Bob Holly. All right, so he's actually an interesting one. I was thinking about him. Well, yeah, it might have been Tuesday night when he was in the Battle Royal, because I was just thinking that like out of the people that have transitioned from like who have been with NXT ever since like Triple H got like thrown off it and they did the 2.0 thing, and now they're still with NXT going into like this more like, you know, the Shawn Michaels, not 2.0, but it still has like the young elements and kind of the wackiness and the bad acting and the shit like that. But like there's more. It's more of a focused wrestling product with people that can actually wrestle and stuff like that. And they book more like work rate matches and stuff like that on there. I think Tony D'Angelo has actually been like one of the biggest like people hurt by that kind of like change in vision. And that's not to say like Tony D'Angelo can only do wacky. Tony D is good in ring, like you said in the super chat. He's good in ring, man. He's solid in ring, especially for how new he is and stuff like that. He's coming around really nicely. He can wrestle, man. You know, obviously he can talk confidently, and his commitment to this current character is obviously phenomenal. But it's like this current character obviously has a very clear ceiling, you know, because it did feel like at one point before kind of more people got I don't know. Some people got really picked up steam and like they went in different directions. You know, like Ilya's been champion, Trick Williams has been super hot and champion. They did the whole thing with Melo, etc., etc. And it's like what once felt like a sure thing of Tony D winning the NXT title and having a little run with it now seems a million miles away. He's won the Heritage Cup, and that's kind of like where he's found himself. So I do think he's going to need a gimmick change, although he has been pretty great with his effort with this one. You know, and I've really enjoyed it. You know, obviously it produces some really great content and memes and pictures and reaction pics and things like that, and like funny tweet things like when they killed fucking what was his name, bro? Not Stacks, the other one. What was his name? Like Two Dimes or some shit.
Yeah, 2 Dimes.
Cole Carter, like the one who's in AEW now. Like when they killed him off, they killed Drew Gulak. Like, there's little fun things like that we've got out of it. Like I said, at the end of the day, ultimately, I think he's going to need a bit of a change. Yeah, man. Anyone got anything to add on?
Yeah,
Tony D'Angelo?
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead. I'll let you
The
take
thing with Tony D, I like Tony D. I think Tony D's kind of found his niche, even though it won't be like a real thing on the main roster for him. So he'll kind of have to transition out of that soon. But I kind of think he's found his niche with the Heritage Cup thing. He gets to do what he was actually like really signed for, and that's wrestle. Like the match he had with Charlie Dempsey was really good because they were literally rolling around like it was a legitimate amateur wrestling match. And so, but transitioning out of that, I feel like Crucifino and Stacks being the tag team now is beneficial because that's been the problem. We've only ever seen his real good shit in tag matches, and that's why the takeover match was so not the takeover. The stand and deliver match with Ilya was so mediocre because I think he's very inexperienced at big singles matches. So,
yeah, I can see that. Ibu, what was you gonna say about Big Tony D?
Thank you. Sorry, I was just gonna say that it's just low ceiling. The gimmick is low ceiling. I don't see this thing doing anything on the main roster. I don't even see Triple H running this gimmick on the main roster. There are Italian actors that like run a restaurant and kill people. You know,
real grabs. I like it, man. But it's just I agree with you though. Like I agree with you. Like I like it. It pops me, but it's like it has its limitations, man.
Yeah, it has its limitations. He's also just kind of leveled off. I think his progress has stalled a bit. He's talented. He does the amateur stuff, and he's pretty good. Like when I see him in short bursts, like in the tag match or his little run in the Battle Royal, like he looks good. But they gave him a big spot against Ilya Dragunov, and that match, no one even remembers it happened. He main evented a Mania weekend show against Ilya Dragunov.
I remember it, but I'm a fan. You know,
hey, but that's your guy. Yeah, it's just I do think he's gonna have to change his gimmick if he has actual main roster aspirations.
Yeah,
that's about.
Like I said, I agree with everything that you have said, and I pretty much said like a lot of similar points as well myself. It's like there is a part of me that does feel like there is a shame because I do like it. Do you know what I mean? It pops me. Like the restaurant segments and shit they've done over the past couple of years, like you know what I mean. Like some of those have been really great. I thought like the segments that he did, like on the boat, on the yacht with like Santos Escobar when he was feuding with the LWO, like that was tremendous, you know,
bro.
But
that
like,
was awesome.
No, he's done some cinema, you know. He's done some cinema, and I like the groove. Like I like Stacks. Like he pops me a lot. He's a good worker as well in those tags and that. You know, he's very tenacious.
He works hard. He does work.
I love what's her name? Man, I feel really bad for forgetting. Anna Kiefer. What's her actual name on NXT? Adriana Rizzo. She pops me a lot. But it's just it's limitations, man. But all right, we've got about 10 minutes left, people. So get the super chats in. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on our infamous wisdom and answers. Berkey, $2. Why are y'all arguing for Roman profile pics? Well, hold on.
I'm glad
only one person on screen.
You know what? You know what? I'm glad Berkey did this because I wanted to shout out John Moxley's Bloodsport appearance. Yeah, Berkey's referencing me. I replied to Tribal Megastar, was I believe the account's name. Roman Reigns in the profile picture. Tribal
Megastar, ladies and gentlemen.
Tribal Megastar. I think this is the same account, Monty. A few days ago, Tribal Megastar made a thread, top 10 pops in wrestling history. And 6 of the 10 pops were from 2010's WWE, and the remaining 4 were from WWE from 1999 to 2009.
Yeah, like the classic ones, like
bro, the only
Stone
good
Cold.
Roman...
Stone Cold wins the title for Mankind.
Bro, the only good massive Roman stand account is probably like IB's, bro. There's another one with Roman. There's another one,
man.
Bro, there's another one with no,
bro. Good account, man.
But like, at least you believe, bro. There was one Roman account that was like Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy was the 2019 match of the year. I was like, okay, bro, you don't believe that?
Yeah, some of them are just circus accent, though. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, all right. I'm gonna pull it up because I felt really passionate about this. You guys, I talked about this with Rob and Monty before we.
You don't even remember to just read it off the top of your head verbatim. Like you don't. I think even I could do that. No, it's not my tweet.
No. I remember what I said. I'm trying to get what Tribal Megastar said. Because here it is. So this was John Moxley this morning, guys. Wrestled on Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. They did a show in Japan called Bloodsport Bushido, and in the main event, Moxley faced Barnett again, right? And John fought to the death and was bloodied up, like a man. And he basically cut this promo about how he loves Japan and how he loves this ring because over here, it's the purest, most unfiltered version of wrestling. It's wrestling without the bullshit. It's just bones cracking and concussions and fire and guts and blood. It's its purest form distilled. That's Bloodsport. That's why he believes in Bloodsport. And only here could he do that type of wrestling without the bullshit surrounding it. It's very obvious that John Moxley is disillusioned with the weekly North American television style of professional wrestling. And he's blessed with the opportunity to... And not only opportunity, he's blessed to be in a position where he can pursue what moves him, what he's passionate about, without worry of finances. Because Mox is a millionaire, and Tony Khan, a billionaire, is paying $1 million to work for him.
Right.
And yet he's allowed to kind of take these detours to do these things that move him, that really fulfill him, right? And so John is speaking from the heart to the Japanese people. And Tribal Megastar says, man, it sucks to see John Moxley like this. Just concussions. When he said the industry needs to change after he received a concussion last year is insane. The attendance as well, with the yikes face emoji. All of this for 10 people to clap. Laugh emoji. Need Dean Ambrose back. Prayer emoji. And here's the problem. How do you see a guy like John, who is clearly like more alive in this situation than he would be doing anything else? It's a man following his heart. It's a man pursuing his art the way he wants to. And your reaction is to concern troll about the danger of what he's doing and the amount of people in the crowd. And you're basically saying, you need to come back to the company I like and be one of the toys that I can play with on my toolbox. When John is on record basically saying he didn't enjoy his time in WWE. WWE is not for everybody.
That's not what he said. He said, I fucking hated my life. And
exactly. He literally hated his life. And at the end of the day, WWE, whether you love it, hate it, like it, dislike it, it's not for everybody. And you're a toxic fan if you're somebody that thinks, who just immediately jumps to dismiss what somebody's doing if they're not in WWE and just call for them to just come back to the company you like. I think that's toxic. And Tribal Megastar may well be intentionally engagement farming, right? But I still felt passionate enough.
You think?
Right. But I still felt passionate enough to say what I say because this bullshit is too rampant, Monty. These people who just see pictures or clips of John Moxley with blood on his face, right? And they didn't see. Do you think any of these people, Monty, purchased Bloodsport Bushido? Could these people? Could these people pick Josh Barnett? Could
I
these
don't
people
know. Maybe.
Could these people pick Josh Barnett or Fuminori Abe or Kazushi Sakuraba out of a fucking prison lineup? None of them could do any of those things or tell you what Bloodsport is. But they love to see these pictures of John bleeding and go, oh, man, that's dangerous. Or, oh, man, I can't believe he's doing that. Or, oh, man, he bleeds every match. It's not accurate. Check your facts if you're going to concern troll. John Moxley has toned down the blood, number one. And number two, we don't need to let people produce professional wrestling how they want to do it. Why do we have to take all of this shit and make it and filter it back into the stupid ass fucking WWE AEW culture war? Mox is literally taking himself out of that bubble to just do what he wants in Japan. And these people are dragging him back into the shit. Now, thankfully for him, he doesn't have a phone, so he doesn't have to see it. But you know who does have to see it? Professional wrestling fans. And I speak on behalf of them when I say tribal megastar and people of your ilk when it comes to how you think. Let people just do what they want and live their lives. Not everything has to be for you. I'm not even saying you have to love Bloodsport or love bloody wrestling or whatever the fuck, but it's just like, what the fuck, man? You know? That's my piece on that. And then the last thing I'll say is Bloodsport is simulated mixed martial arts. It's not deathmatch wrestling. These are two different things. But you know why these people don't know this, Monty? Because they don't watch. They just look at the fucking clips and pictures and go.
Grew up, bro. They grew up in an era where people were using kendo sticks and chairs and nobody bled. They were in steel cage matches and nobody bled.
And their idea of storytelling is dialogue in between matches and staring backstage. This is why I always advocate to expand your horizons and learn more about wrestling as an art form and as a genre. There's so many different ways to do it. And there's different ways that work better for other people than they do for other people. And at the end of the day, there's different ways to do cool wrestling. Some's going to work for you. It may not work for me. John Moxley, this is what moves him. This is what he likes to do. You don't have to like it, but he likes it. That's the bottom line.
He does.
I think John Moxley, God bless him, you know. I not only does he prefer doing this over weekly TV, Monty, I prefer seeing him do this over weekly TV. Just going around the world, doing different things, treating this thing like a sport. You know what I mean? Good for John.
All right. I'm happy you got that off your chest, Ibu, even though you was the person giving us our time limit earlier. We got a few super chats to get through before we get out of here. Before I let you go, though, Ibu. So you stuck with me. Amari 316 V2 $5. Appreciate your words. Thoughts on Oberferi versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania 42 for the US belt, Street versus Street. That's a world title match, bro. Come on, get real. Matt Hennessy 5.99. Appreciate it. I get Hunter not putting Omos on TV, but I do think Hunter should put MVP on TV. I don't think Triple H is a racist. Hayes, Jade, and Belair have all done well. Yeah, it's like I said that when we were talking about the subject, man. It's like everyone, I believe, most of our audience, at least most of our audience, are capable of kind of looking at situations case by case and forming their own opinion. So, if that's the opinion that you've come to, then obviously that's very fair. Should put MVP on TV. Yeah, definitely agree with what we were saying earlier. I get him not putting Omos on TV. Honestly, bro, I think Omos can kind of be like an occasional useful device, you know, for someone to like pick up and slam every now and again. You know, like there's things you can use him to get people over, man. I'm not saying he should be on TV weekly, but I don't know. He's kind of like a tool that you kind of have in the back of your, you know, in your back pocket kind of thing. Because he's very big, you know, if you haven't noticed. Mid takes $4.99. Appreciate it. Every time Mox Blaze Twitter gets bad, what's everyone's favourite ROH match of all time? Danielson McGuinness in Liverpool. Liverpool. It's in Liverpool. Yeah. What about you? Your favourite ROH match?
Go for the basic one and just say Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi, to be honest with you. There's a
you, Rob?
There's a tag that has, I'm trying to remember who the fourth person is. I don't remember who was on what side, but Danielson, Kenta, and Samoa Joe was in the match. I don't know if Rob will knows this one, but there's an 06 tag Joe is in it. Kenta is in it. Danielson's in it. And another person's in it. I can't remember who.
Homicide.
Is it? I love that
Yeah,
match.
I think it was Homicide.
That's great. Kenta Danielson is great from like 06. But I'm going to go with Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi.
Oh, it was Marufuji? Well, I was wrong then.
I got to check my bookmarks.
But no, my favorite Ring of Honor match of all time would either be probably Morishima versus Danielson.
Oh,
probably Morishima versus Danielson. 08.
Vinny May 199, male or female version of Christian's WWE theme? This is amongst the WWE fans of yesteryear.
Female.
Yeah, I was leaning towards female, but it's actually one of the rare instances where like it's like you can debate it. You know, usually there's like one that's blatantly better. You know, but yeah. Do say Rose 199. Joe Hendry, he's missed it until the bell rings. I think it's a weird one with him to say that because it's like he is a comedy gimmick. It's not like he walks around and he's got all this aura and he's top star and he's this and he's that, and then the bell rings and it's like, oh, it's like he is who he is. Do you know what I mean? But as Ibu touched on, I think people are kind of overreaching and getting a bit too excited with the fantasy booking of it. And as I was making out earlier, just kind of think about what you actually want if you want to see him more. Like, do you want to see him wrestle? Or do you want to see him do like skits and shit? Probably the latter. Slim Reaper 35499. Braun is the first main roster superstar level guy to come out of NXT. Why do you think they haven't been as successful developing men as they have the women? First, Braun is I mean, who would be the other contenders that you would have expected to become like main eventers? Because I think a lot of it is just kind of like talent reliant. I don't think they've kind of like completely shit the bed with any of the people they've called up. They haven't amounted to too much, but they're not exactly people that I was like circling as being future world champs. Whereas Braun, he definitely is, and he's on the correct trajectory. Carmelo Hayes has had a very promising start. Tiffany Stratton was having a very promising start until she fucked it up, you know. I don't know, man. Ibu, thoughts on Shingo Danielson as a matchup from Mason84? Appreciate it as always.
I don't have complicated opinions. I just think it's something I've wanted to see for a long time. It happened in Dragon Gate USA, and it was amazing. And
right before Danielson went back, I think
it was after he got fired the first time for choking Justin Roberts with his tie.
Yep.
He got fired. He does this Dragon Gate USA match. He wrestled John Moxley as well. So this guy, he came back, was gone for a month, had a bunch of awesome indie matches, and then went right back. Their first match, you should go back and watch it. It's amazing. This is going to be just as good. Again, no complicated thoughts here. Shingo's awesome. Bryan Danielson's great. They're going to tear it up.
So I thought I saw something in the chat. 20s wrestling was definitely missing people ironically enjoying a bad wrestler. He might as well be Joe Hausen.
You see, because I'm a dick, I kind of want WWE to give him like a 16-minute match on one of these shows, just so like people can like shut up, you know.
Like, no, they won't shut up though, because like I said, these are people that are kind of like they just think I want Joe Hendry. They don't think of like what's a good slot for him and how's. But you know, think, there's a triple threat match open. He should be in that. Like,
here's the thing: they did shut up about Lexis King, and they did shut up about Ethan Page.
Yeah, but there's levels and like Joe Hendry has become so much more popular than both of those people.
Right? Yeah, of course. But the point I'm making is these fans who tickle their titties over these people. You know, Lexis King, the bell rang, and it was like, oh, Ethan Page got a main event slot at a pay-per-view, and they're like, oh, okay. And the same will happen for Joe Hendry when he wrestles. So
he's not. He's not as good as Ethan Page though.
He's better than Lexis King. He's worse than Ethan Page, and Ethan Page bad. So it'll be the same thing.
I mean, Shaq the Bed's a bit tough. I think I know he underwound you specifically. Because I remember you talking about like what you was expecting from him, what you was hoping from him, and what he actually delivered.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of get where he's coming from, but like he was working with like Trick Williams, bro. Like
Yeah,
and it's
bro.
like
Like,
the
you
match
gotta.
wasn't a disgrace. It was just like boring, and he didn't show anything dynamic like you would have hoped. I don't think he weren't like a dud or anything. It was just kind of a match that kind of happened and shouldn't have main evented, But yeah, Ethan Page is, I think he's a good wrestler to have in NXT, Lexis King, I wouldn't say that about, Um, I like Ethan Page, man. I think he's all right.
He's fine.
Yeah. Darren Walker, £2, appreciate it as always. What does he think of Triple A and NXT's potential deal? He's already tweeted about it, bro. But go on, bro.
Yeah, Triple A is one of the worst companies in the world. And not only are they one of the worst, because you could do something productive with a bad promotion, but there's nothing productive that could come from this. It's not even like you could send NXT people to AAA and they would get better. They'd get probably a little bit worse. And they have no prospects.
This ain't Arena Mexico, brother.
There's no prospects to look at or throw at. There's no appealing dream matches to make.
Injured.
Vikingo's injured. It's just a bad promotion. It's booked really poorly and makes no sense. And you can't even send your young guys there and they get better. Like Noah's up and down. They're on a more positive streak the last few months. If hypothetically NXT sent some guys to Noah, they'd come back better wrestlers. That would not happen in AAA. So my thoughts on a potential deal is AAA is really bad.
Yeah. Shotton Spurs $5. Appreciate it. Punk has wrestled in one match since getting fired. Hiring him hurt AEW more than firing him. Nah, bro, that's.
No, I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I understand if people feel a certain way about Punk, because people, especially when you talk about AEW, feel very strongly either way about him. He was either like the greatest gift of AEW when they fumbled him, or it's like,
Monty been lagging.
Yeah, he
Rob,
just did.
Did he lag for you too, or is it just me?
No, he lagged for me too.
All right. Well, look, here's the bottom line with CM Punk is the way I look at his AEW run genuinely is, look, he had to go when he went, and it didn't work out at the end. But I'm still very thankful for the positives of the run, and I thought it did produce some really great moments that are some of the best stuff in AEW history, and I wouldn't want those to never exist. They brought him back to pro wrestling. His fucking
really sorry, but
oh my god, how he getting mine? Jesus Christ.
They got me.
Yeah. That tomorrow's show might be oh boy.
I turn my camera on, it's just like a doll.
I just want to watch wrestling. I want to watch two people locking up and trading moves, and one guy wins and one guy loses.
Aww.
I'd like to see professional wrestling. Hopefully, Chad Gable isn't secreting black goo tomorrow.
Oh my god! Yo, I might. Yo,
I just want to watch wrestling. Do you have any super chats left, Monty?
We got one, bro.
Let's get.
And that's the Sultan. For people that are so westernized and can't imagine people being massively successful outside of the US, it taps into a jingoistic attitude that is brain rot.
Correct. Absolutely true. And well said. Wrestling is more than WWE. Wrestling is more than the United States. People can have fulfilling, successful careers outside of the United States. And whether you're privy to or familiar with the scenes outside of the United States, which you don't have to be considered a wrestling fan, but if you're not informed on that, you don't have to pass judgment or be or be that guy that tries to act to try to act like it's without merit. If you do that, you're an ignorant idiot.
Yeah, I think I agree with you completely, and it's just something that I think a lot of wrestling fans online, and I think it's just a sports fan thing as well, like because of the way people talk about sports and these levels, like these forms of entertainment, it's like people want to be the person in the room that knows the most and shit. Do you know what I mean? They want to be the person in the room that's right on the right side of the debate. Like people can't really struggle to throw their hands up and be like, oh, I was wrong about this person, or I was wrong about this angle, or whatever. Like, people dig the heels in so much, and they're so obsessed with being right that like they have to have an opinion on everything. And like Ibu just said, like, just because you watch WWE, that doesn't mean you're not a wrestling fan. Well, it's not the case at all. But at the same time, don't be commenting on what Mox is doing in Bloodsport Japan if you haven't actually fucking watched it. Or, like, do you know what I mean? Because you just, as Ibu said, you're just a fucking ignorant idiot if you do that shit. So actually comment on what you actually fucking watching. And the same with WWE and AEW, bro. People talk about WWE who don't watch it all the time and vice versa. And it's fucking brutal. Like, every time it's brutal. Okay, one last super chat. Amari 316 V2, appreciate it one last time, $5. It's kind of annoying how insecure certain wrestling fans on social media are with their favorite wrestling company. Yeah, man, that's just kind of an extension of what I was just saying, but I agree, man. It's fucking annoying. But on that note, shout out Jacob Fatu forever and ever and ever.
Oh, wait, they got one more super chat right here. It's Amari.
People, let's go. No, that's I just read that one, bro.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
You're tripping.
Good, bro. I'm tripping.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow. WrestlePurists Worldwide. It will be Mr. Joe Hulbert's last worldwide appearance for a while. As many of you already know, he's taking a step back for a while, for the foreseeable. But he's going to still be around. We've still got like a little project in the background that we're working on. And like I said, he's not leaving WrestlePurists. He's just taking a step back from his current schedule to focus on things that he needs to focus on and sort some things out.
I will be announcing.
Oh shit!
The next signee to WrestlePurists Worldwide tomorrow.
Oh shit!
I've been making.
I think you're gonna pop people.
I've been making some dealings, everybody. I've signed a lucrative deal to be WrestlePurists Worldwide head of creative, and it's not gonna, because you can never follow Joe Holbert. You can never recreate the show that Joe Holbert has. You can only evolve and change, and so it'll still be worldwide, but it'll be a slightly different worldwide with a new talent. So look forward to that tomorrow in that announcement, folks.
Yeah, definitely. We've obviously the big news of one of our top stars, having to take a little sabbatical. I decided as the CEO of this promotion, I really need to let one of my top stars in Ibu have the book for a little bit, So I messaged him. I was like, "Worldwide, what do you want to do with it, brother? Do we run a 2-man play? Do we make a new signing? What do you want to do? Do you want to change our style? What do you want to do?" And I'm just letting Ibu have the pen. So if the show does now fall off a cliff, that you don't have to blame me. All right? Someone said, "Holy shit, Dave Meltzer's joining Worldwide."
Someone said Brian Alvarez on Worldwide. Someone said corny Punk.
Jesus. Listen, everyone was considered, all right? Anyway, very happy with who we landed on. I think you will be too. Ibu's going to announce it tomorrow. So make sure you're locked into WrestlePurists Worldwide tomorrow. Thank you for all the super chats, giving us stuff to talk about. Please like the video if you haven't already. It really helps. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It goes without saying, that really helps. And also, if you see any time catch up, leave us a comment. And if you've got the time watching us live, leave us any comment you want. Tell us, I don't know, your favorite moment of the week, because there's been so much going on this week. Or just leave a random comment or a joke or slander Ibu in some way. All right. Getting out of here. Thanks for watching, people. Back tomorrow. Peace.